post-depression who probably live near the boot heel or something. Who say it?
Every time you say boot heel, I feel like it's supposed to be boot hill, but I get it that it's boot heel. But in my head, you're saying it like, I live down by the boot heel.
You would never go down there.
I have been down there.
You're too bougie for those people.
Oh my gosh, that's insane. Wait, real quick. Is that Ironton? Or is Ironton not in the boot heel?
I don't know.
I think the boot heel's further south than Ironton.
I don't know. It might be.
I had a really fun weekend in Ironton. We had a girls' weekend.
Amy Marks Kors, Chris Ranji. This is KMOX. We welcome in your voice messages on the Odyssey app where you can be listening to us live, Tap the mic button and record a message and send it to us. We'd love to hear from you. We're also streaming on Facebook Live, meaning you can watch us. You can watch us on YouTube. You can watch us on Twitter. And in order to do that, you need to be following us at Chris Amy KMOX.
Time now for the top of the order. The top 3 stories everybody will be talking about.
Oh, baby, it was cold overnight. Going to be cold again overnight tonight. The frost is here, and it's happening a week earlier than normal.
We are approaching the end of 2024, which is when all of St. Louis's ARPA funds need to be obligated or spent. Alderwoman Kara Spencer joins us to give us an update and to respond to Jared Boyd, Chief of Staff for Mayor Tashara Jones, what he said yesterday, saying that Spencer's tweet was not true.
And the Blues did play their home opener last night. It did not go well. They dropped one to the Minnesota Wild 4-1. Matt Pauley will join the show today. We're going to talk a little Sparks with him. Talk a little Cardinals Gold Glove as well, because we have the 3 finalists. We'll get Matt's thoughts on Nolan Arenado and Mason Wynn and Brendan Donovan, who are all up for that award.
And I know you guys are going to love this. I can always tell when people are going to want to get involved. We want to know, when do you turn your heat on in your house? When do you turn your heat on in the fall/winter? It's a huge topic of conversation, inexplicably so, but it is. And remember, you can text us at 314-436-7900. You can also leave us a voice message on the Odyssey app. That's an awesome way to do it. The Odyssey app, the KMOX main page on the Odyssey app, there's a microphone icon.
See, here's what's before we move on to the other thing. Here's what's interesting to me is that I don't feel like this is a topic of this should not be any sort of debate.
It shouldn't.
You turn the heat on when it gets cold. I know that, like when I was in high school, for example, they did not turn the building's heat on, or the building's, I think, air conditioning even. There was a certain set date. I don't remember what it was. It was like mid-May or something when they finally turned the AC on. And there was a certain set date they turned on the heat, which is silly. Why don't you just turn it on when it's cold? What do I have to wait for a date for? Is it because you don't want to turn it on, then have to turn it off again 2 days later if it gets warm? Why not just keep it on?
Wait, people have a date?
Well,
I thought when we were having this conversation, when do you turn it on? Like, I thought we were just talking like temperature.
Well, some people don't like to go to it unless they feel like they finally actually settled into fall and or winter.
So yesterday morning, I turned on the heat in my car for the first time because it was chilly early in the morning. And this morning, I think it was it 38, 37?
Yeah, it was colder. I think it got the low was 34 overnight last night.
So already, and I very rarely do this, I wore tights and gloves on my run this morning, which I don't usually do.
Yeah,
this was the first time I brought out gloves.
According to the meteorologists, it usually around October 23rd every year. That's about the average date that we start to see our first frost. We had it overnight last night. Overnight tonight, it is going to happen. It's going to be close. I think it might be a degree or 2 warmer, but it's still going to be chilly. So we're about a week ahead of schedule in terms of frost. How about that? And I love it.
I love it.
I know people hate it. Like, oh no, the cold weather is coming. Wear
scarf.
a coat.
I have a scarf.
Get a
I have a coat. I love it so much. I will say, I think it's because my apartment, there's something to be said for being like in an old brick building or just a building that has units underneath it, because I will not turn my heat on. It's so stuffy and hot in the apartment. I did have one apartment, and it was the year of COVID. It was really, really old drafty apartment. Like I said, they put the wind in windows because, I mean, you could literally see cracks in my windows.
Mhm.
But it was a small apartment and the heat would kick on and it was really loud. So what I had was the heat would kick on in a small apartment. So it would heat up really fast and then it would kick off. And then it was so drafty that about 5 minutes later, it kicked back on. So it would do this all night long and it sounded like a man was literally disassembling and assembling the heater
Yeah.
every time it
Oh,
kicked on
yeah,
and
yeah,
off.
yeah, yeah.
So I would turn it up, and I kid you not, I would turn it up to like 80 degrees and then turn the heat off. And this was when it was really cold during COVID. It was like below zero. I would turn it up to 80 degrees, climb into bed, and when I woke up in the morning, 100%, not even joking, it'd be 51, 52 degrees in my apartment. It was so cold. And I was broadcasting from home with Charlie, not with Charlie Brennan. He wasn't in my home. I was
Charlie, just come here today. I don't want to come into the office.
I was broadcasting from home, Charlie and I, because it was during COVID. We were in our respective homes. And the heat was so loud, I couldn't have it on while I was on the air.
So you had
I would turn it up to 80 again, and by the time the show was over, it'd be low 50s.
you'd have an old school radiator. Is that what you're talking about?
No, it was like those are the ones along the wall.
Yeah.
No, it was a HVAC or whatever the system is, but it was so loud because I think it was kind of shoddy. And I also had like 7-foot ceilings because they put it in the ceiling.
So one of my very close friends, this happened about 6 or 7 years ago to
Yeah.
him. It's amazing. I mean, it wasn't good for him, but he had the old school radiator,
Oh,
which is,
yeah.
the steamy water. And there must have been, he was out of town in Seattle and he was gone for about a week and something broke in the radiator. So it wasn't heat. It was the steam just coming into his apartment for
Oh.
several days. And he wasn't there. The windows were closed. He came home and there was a condensation on the ceiling. It was dripping.
Oh.
There was mold already.
Oh, no.
His ceiling fan that was in the dining room was drooped. It like all 4 of the blades were drooping
Oh, my
down. He took
gosh.
photos. It was unbelievable because there was just 5 or 6 days of steam pouring into the place. That's a nightmare for you.
That is a nightmare because, again, mold and mildew is my big fear. And because of that, water where it's not supposed to be,
Yeah.
massive
He had to
fear.
throw out almost everything. Everything
yeah.
was ruined in the
And like I
place.
said, black mold, the really bad kind, that can show up within 24 hours. Well, yeah, I'm so glad I did not have a radiator because I could not handle yet another fear. But I will say it was so cold. Like I went to bed. I would go to bed with a t-shirt, a sweatshirt, sweatpants, and socks. I didn't put a hat on. I'm like, I'm not wearing a hat to bed. But
Amy, why don't you tell us about how you love to call the police on people?
The non-emergency police.
Amy has called the police on somebody twice in 3 days now. Or is it twice in 2 days?
Well,
did you do it yesterday or 2 days ago?
No, it was Monday and Wednesday. Is today Wednesday?
Today's
Yeah.
Monday. So you did it again today.
Oh, no, that was yesterday. So it was twice in 2 days.
So
Monday, Tuesday.
Over a 24-hour period,
Yeah.
you called the police on somebody twice.
Well, first I want to make it very clear. I did not call 911. I called the non-emergency line. Because I also want to say that I also called MoDOT. Because there was like a 20-foot ladder in the middle of the highway on Highway 40, like on the middle of right at Grand, in the middle lane. And then, I called them twice, and then there was a giant tire. At any rate, so yesterday, I'm driving back from the studio, and I see a woman, presumably a homeless woman, because she had like all of her like belongings with her. She was just walking in the fast lane of Highway 40 westbound, just east of the Science Center. And I'm like, there's no broken down car anywhere in sight. And she was just walking. And I understand that homeless people or unhoused people walk down the highway, down the interstate to get places. However, you don't walk in the inside lane. I thought this woman's going to be killed. So I actually thought I should have called 911. But I didn't, and in retrospect, someone told me you made the wrong decision. You should have called 911. I called the non-emergency line. And the reason why that was a mistake is because I sit through, when you call, like, thank you for calling the St. Louis Police Headquarters, or Police Department non-emergency line. And I kid you not, it goes like, if you're here to report like a larceny or a theft of an auto, or the suspect still in sight, or this is an existing police report. I mean, it just went on and on about like if your car was stolen, press 1. And then they go into a next crime. And I think, oh my gosh. So I'm waiting. Like, please do not push a button early. So I'm waiting to go through the entire menu. It cuts out and just starts ringing. So that's good. That I don't have to sit through the whole menu. And someone says, this call is important to us. Thank you for calling the St. Louis Police Department non-emergency line. It's about like 26 minutes, at which points I realized I should have called 911.
Well,
and so
yeah.
the woman answers. She's like, hello. She's like, how can I help you? I'm like, yes. I'm like, okay. I go, sorry. I was on Highway 40. I'm not anymore. I've been on hold a long time. She's like, I'm very sorry. We've been extremely busy. And I was like, I know I was on 40, but I wanted to let you know because, and she goes, is it about the woman walking on the highway?
Oh, she already had that call.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, yes. She's like, we're taking care of it.
I don't know what it is with pedestrians on interstates. It's been happening a lot. It happened recently on 70. A couple of days ago on I-55 by Merrimack Bottom Road. There was a pedestrian on 55 who was killed and happened to have been killed by a drunk driver, allegedly, which is, I mean, you can't be driving drunk, but also there shouldn't be a dude walking on the highway either. So unless that person had a stranded vehicle or something, which
No, she seemed to be that she was a homeless person, which I also, again, how she even got to the inside lane in the first place is difficult to imagine. Yeah. But if you're just walking down the highway on the inside lane.
I saw somebody over here.
So dangerous. Someone else could die. Like someone could swerve to avoid her and hit someone else.
The 14th Street exit right here near Enterprise Center. There was somebody who was walking on the it was the outside part. She was walking there a couple of weeks ago. Could have been the same woman.
You always hear about this on 70. Pedestrian killed walking across the highway. So yes. Yeah. And so I told my friend because I was on my way to a meeting and my friend was like, yeah, you should have called 911. Yeah, I was so self-conscious about calling 911 because my co-host and my producer think I'm a Karen of the emergency line.
You really are a Karen.
I'm trying to save people's lives.
No, you're not. You're being a busybody.
It's what would you do?
Quit inserting yourself into the situation.
You would let that woman get hit?
Speaking of what would you do, I guess they filmed an episode of that show at
Crown Candy.
I don't know when it airs, but maybe it already did.
Yeah. It was a guy. He was trying to commit fraud with workers' comp. That was the what would you do? So he walks into Crown Candy, totally fine, carrying crutches. And he's like, sorry, I got a workers' comp thing. Sits down. And then when his boss comes in, she's like, oh my gosh, are you hurt? He's like, I can't even move. I'm in so much pain. And everyone at Crown Candy is looking at him like he's lying. So when he went up to go to the bathroom.
They're telling on him?
Yes.
Now keep your business to yourself, people.
They got a prize,
How do you know? How do you know? Maybe if you insert yourself into the situation, you don't realize that boss has been abusive.
Okay.
Maybe there are weekly beatings.
How are you going to defend the lady walking in the middle of the highway?
That's different.
You would drive right past her?
Well, I don't know. I drove right past the other one. I went, woo, that's dangerous. And I just kept going.
Oh my gosh.
You know what? Sometimes I assume other people have already made the call, like happened with you.
Everybody always assumes. But if we all assume, you know what happens when we assume?
You make an ass out of you and me.
Yes, that's exactly right. That's exactly right.
It is the Chris and Amy show. We, of course, want to hear your voice, and your voice can be heard on this station by utilizing the voice message feature on the Odyssey app, where you can listen to us live as well. It's Chris and Amy on KMOX.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Drury Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Drury Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Drury Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
You entrusted a nursing home with the care of a loved one, but they violated that trust. If your family member has been the victim of nursing home neglect, call Onder Law at 844-BEDSORE.
Genesis of St. Charles is knocking it out of the park. They're #1 in Genesis sales with the biggest inventory around. In fact, selection at Genesis of St. Charles is the best they've ever had. So head to their state-of-the-art facility and see for yourself and take advantage of 0% financing through the end of October. See dealer for details. Stop in today at Genesis of St. Charles, a quarter mile east of Mid-Rivers Mall Drive off 70, or online at genesisofstcharles.com.
Home ownership. At Progressive, we know it's part of the American dream. It's sea to shining sea, and water damage as far as the eye can see. It's America. It's freshly mowed grass and a fence that was freshly vandalized by a pack of unruly teens. It's America. It's also around-the-clock protection when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive, which can help keep the American dream of home ownership alive and kicking. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED in my 12 years of practice. But now you can get world-class care for ED 100% online by going to hims.com. So what are you waiting for?
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy.
If you need a new garage door, this could be your lucky day. Entries are now open for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. A winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of their choice. Deadline to enter is the end of the month to win the $5,000 sweepstakes with Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Enter now at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. You can't win if you don't enter at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
Natural disasters happen every year. Fires, hurricanes, tornadoes. And with that, your most important moments recorded on VHS, camcorder tapes, and 8mm could all be gone in an instant. Cherished moments like your wedding, baby's first steps, family trips to Yellowstone, lost. Enter Legacy Box. Digitizing your old media with Legacy Box protects your irreplaceable memories from the threat of natural disaster by digitally preserving them onto thumb drive, DVD, or the cloud, so they're safe forever. Legacy Box is the safest and easiest way to preserve your past, which is why it's been trusted by over 1 million families. Send Legacy Box your home movies, photos, and film. Their team of trained professionals will do the rest right here in the U.S. For a limited time, Legacy Box is offering radio listeners an incredible 50% off. Go to legacybox.com/value and save 50% when you digitize your memories. That's legacybox.com/value.
Celebrate the spooky season with Zero Res and get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129 and take $75 off your air duct cleaning. Book online at ZeroResSTL.com and take advantage of these huge savings. Spell it forward, spell it backwards, always spells the same, Zero Res.
At KMOX, our focus is you, your go-to station for local news that matters to St. Louis and the region. The voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Well, if you can afford the bill, you can turn it on today if you like.
That's true. I don't think about that, you know? Maybe it's too expensive for some people to turn on your heat right away. Mm-hmm. Maybe you need to wait a little bit.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised that I know 2 friends who are I say my age. One's like 45, the other is 49, so a little bit older.
Yeah.
Who grew up with wood fire stoves. Like they heated their house. Yeah. So one lived in Iowa and he would have to wake up in the middle of the night because they had to chop the wood and keep the house warm. That feels like intense, right? Not many people our age grew up with that.
But also I do know, like I said during the last segment, I know a lot of people who will not flip their central heating conditioning system, whatever. They will not flip it over to heat or cold until like we are fully established into those seasons, which is like, why? Yeah. That doesn't make any sense.
I've turned my AC on when it's 45.
Also, here's a text message who says, this is from a 314. It will be a cold day in hell before I recognize Missouri.
Good for you, texter.
Yeah.
Good for you. Hey, I know we're going to talk about this in the 12 o'clock hour as well. And you brought this up to me yesterday morning, but I had not seen it yet. A Donald Trump rally on Monday evening hosted by South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem.
Let's not do any more questions. Let's just listen to music. Let's make it into a music. Who the hell wants to hear questions, right?
La luce che ha incontrato per strada.
Okay, so
the next. Wait. Okay, so
that's a great song about Hallelujah.
for about 20 minutes, Kristi Noem and Donald Trump talked. And then there were 2 medical events with attendees in the crowd, always very concerning. When the paramedics left, had taken care of the issue, Donald Trump had that quote, which you just heard, who the hell wants to hear questions? Let's play music. And for the next 39 minutes, he stood on stage kind of dancing, kind of nodding his head while he listened to all of his favorite songs.
Just a very, I don't know, it was really odd.
No, it's insane. To be completely honest, this is a presidential candidate at a rally with a governor, a current governor. This is insane behavior.
Here's my issue with it. If that had been Joe Biden, it's all anybody would have talked about for 5 days or 3 days or
my
whatever.
gosh,
That's all
they
we'd be
would say,
talking about. This is crazy.
He's got
he has
dementia.
No,
He
has
listened
no
to music.
business.
Yes.
But because he did it, it's like, well, that was a weird thing, and then we move on. Which I am very much about consistency and how we look at stuff. That if you're going to assign parameters to people, to politicians, where you have an expectation of them to behave in a certain way, I expect you to expect all the politicians to behave the same way and not, well, it's just him, come on, move on. He's just being himself. Let's move. No, that's crazy behavior.
This is crazy, but we're in, it's a very, the world has a lot of critical global events happening. Israel is constantly being attacked. We have Anthony Blinken talking to the leaders in Israel, trying to lay down the rules of like what they want Israel to do. We're going to give them aid. This is a huge issue. You have the war with Ukraine. You have the presidential election coming up. You have what's going to happen with Medicare and Medicaid. People are concerned about this. And he wants to stand there and dance for 39 minutes. It's actually insane behavior.
I would like to be able to take an opposing viewpoint on this, but it's not logical because when he makes the comment in the middle of it that who wants to hear questions, dude, that's all you're there for is questions, and you have been spending, and everybody on your side has been spending the last how many weeks criticizing the opponent for not taking questions. And you're there saying, who wants to hear questions? You're running for president.
I think
the only thing that matters from you is what comes out of your mouth in response to questions about events that matter to the rest of us. And that's the only thing that matters.
It's so frustrating because Kamala Harris has been criticized, for earlier for not doing long form interviews, for not sitting down with the press. And then she was criticized with the press that she chose to sit down with. I should say the podcast she chose to sit down with. I don't want to call the Call Her Daddy podcast. That's not the press as we know it. Howard Stern, The View, I get it. But she did those interviews. And Donald Trump.
She's doing Fox Today.
She's doing Fox Today. Donald Trump
if you mentioned that. Sorry,
has his rallies. And one thing that I always hear is, well, she doesn't know what she's talking about. It's her word salads. Watch a Trump rally. Like if we're going to have a battle of word salads, I'm sorry, but when Donald Trump goes off about Hannibal Lecter, it does seem certifiably insane.
It is absolutely okay to criticize her for whenever she delivers a word salad, which by the way, politicians tend to do that anyway. They kind of dance around questions, generally speaking. They all do it. JD Vance does it.
But her word
she
salads
does it.
are different. I mean, like I said, I get it. She's not a great candidate. Like Obama was a speaker.
Yeah.
He was a politician. He got it. She's not great, but what I'm saying is, if you're going to say how bad she is, honest to goodness, I think Trump is worse. His rallies, I can't even follow what he's saying.
Well, it's all I'm saying is you can criticize her for not answering the question the way you think she should answer the question, or if she's just talking in circles. I think all politicians deserve to be criticized for that if they're not directly answering what's being asked of them. But if you're going to do that, you have to pay attention to him too.
To the other side.
You can't. It's not. Be consistent when you're looking at all, because ultimately they're going to work for us. They're working for us. They're working for you. This is not sports. They are not teams. We don't have to fly their flags. We don't have to wear their T-shirts. We don't have to buy their merch. They are there to do a job for us. And you need to look at all of them critically. And I don't think enough people do.
And I think we'll talk, like I said, we'll talk more, because I also have something to say. I've heard people say, well, she slept her way to the top. I have thoughts on that. We'll get to that at 12, because I have a lot of thoughts on that.
That's Amy Marks Kors. I'm Chris Ranji. You've got KMOX.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
When you're hiring for your business, ZipRecruiter's powerful matching technology makes finding qualified candidates for your job easy. This made us wonder, what if the rest of the world was as easy as ZipRecruiter? Math problems wouldn't be so problematic.
K equals 42.
Escape rooms? Elementary. And summiting Everest would be a walk in the park. In the meantime, if you want to make your hiring easier, use ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Simple. So, see what the world is like when ZipRecruiter does the hard work of hiring for you. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Broadway's smash hit, the Neil Diamond musical, A Beautiful Noise, is coming to St. Louis. The true story of a kid from Brooklyn destined for something more, featuring all the songs you love, including America, Forever in Blue Jeans, and Sweet Caroline. Like Jersey Boys and Beautiful, the next musical mega hit is here. The Neil Diamond musical, A Beautiful Noise, coming to the fabulous Fox Theater, October 29th through November 10th. Buy tickets now at fabulousfox.com.
There's breaking news all day long from around the world, and sometimes all that noise makes it hard to hear about what's happening right here at home. With the free Odyssey app, getting your local news plus breaking news is easy. And even when you're not near a radio, stay connected with what's going on right here by listening live and push alerts. Just download the free Odyssey app and search and follow your local news station, and you're good to go. The local breaking news to get you through your day at your fingertips on the free Odyssey app. That's AUDACY.
Broadcasting from the Underlying Tree Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
At 10:30, we've got sunshine. It's 48 degrees downtown at the Arch. Families affected by the damages left by Hurricane Helene dealing with yet another hardship.
I'm Jim Crisula in North Carolina. It's only adding to the misery in the flood-ravaged mountains of western North Carolina and East Tennessee. The region has seen its first snowfall of the season, up to 4 inches in higher elevations. Thousands are still without electricity or heat. Many are living in frigid, damaged houses and apartments. Others have been sleeping or trying to in cold vehicles and even tents.
We've got a crash on 6440 going west at 14th Street. That's got the left lane and the left shoulder closed. Some road work on 364 east at Woodstone Drive. That's on the left lane and the left shoulder. And they've just cleared a crash, 70 westbound at Riverview. That now has all the lanes open. This afternoon, sunshine, cool, high 62. For tonight, moonlit, 32 in the coldest suburbs to 41 downtown. Tomorrow, sunshine with a high of 68. Sponsored by Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm. Right now, 48 downtown. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. Our attorneys are committed to you, your business, and your community. We are ready to serve you in the areas of business litigation, intellectual property, health law, and products liability. SandbergPhoenix.com. The choice of lawyers an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
If your family has been touched by Alzheimer's, join us at the St. Louis Walk to End Alzheimer's on Saturday, October 26th at Chesterfield Park and experience a community of support. Register today at alz.org/STL-Walk.
Cooler weather is on the way. Quiver River Electric Cooperative reminds you that heating requires more energy than any other system in your home, making up about 42% of your energy bill. Save almost 30% on your bill with proper equipment maintenance and upgrades. Replace or clean the furnace filter each month. Consider additional insulation. Caulk, seal, and weather strip wherever outside meets inside. For more tips, visit our website at quiver.com.
Before you sell your home, consider your options. This is Debbie Monterey, and for years I've been telling you about St. Louis's real estate expert Gloria Liu, owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria is an expert in selling homes for the most money because she has the guarantees, the buyers, and different solutions for every type of seller. She recently provided a family multiple cash offers in minutes so they could move quickly with no showings, no costly repairs, no hassles. Not everyone is looking for multiple cash offers. That's why Gloria will sell your home at your agreed upon price, or she'll buy it. Her name says it all. Your Home Sold Guaranteed. Regardless of whether you're looking for multiple cash offers or you want to use her Guaranteed Sold program to ensure you get the most money possible, call the agent I would trust to sell my home, Gloria Liu, at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888. Or find her online at gloriahasthebuyers.com. Conditions apply. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
KMOX proudly supports the Musial Awards, returning to Stiefel Theater Saturday, November 23rd. You can be in the audience for this nationally televised event hosted right here in St. Louis. Named for Stan the Man, the show celebrates the year's greatest moments of sportsmanship and those who embody class and character. Experience the extraordinary moments and people that make the Musial Awards an event like no other. More information can be found at KMOX.com/events.
Bernie Nicholas joins the Chris and Amy Show, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 11:35 on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Chris Ranji, Amy Mark Scores with you, and October is Domestic Abuse Awareness Month. And here are some numbers that I was really shocked when I heard. Only 19% of domestic violence shelters accept pets, and nearly half of domestic abuse survivors delay leaving because they can't take their pets with them. Additionally, more than 70% of domestic violence victims reported that their abuser threatened, harmed, or killed their pet to control them. And I think when we think about domestic abuse, we can imagine, it's difficult to imagine how awful it is, but it makes sense that an abuser would use a pet, maybe in that situation, that person's only friend, only confidant, to further that abuse. To give us more information about this and about one of the coolest programs I've ever heard of, it's coming out of Purina, is Kim Beardsley. She's the director of community affairs with Purina's Purple Leash Project and Domestic Abuse Awareness Month. Kim, thank you so much for joining us today, coming in studio. This program, the Purple Leash Project, is so amazing, is doing so much good work. And tell our listeners a little bit about it in context of what we're talking about here with domestic abuse.
Sure. So Purina has been working with a national nonprofit. It's called Red Rover for about 6 years now. And what our mission is to just really fundamentally change the landscape of how this country cares for abuse survivors and their pets. When we started this, only 4% of abuse shelters accepted pets. And we just felt, knowing, the support that our pets bring us from a mental health perspective, especially when you're in a crisis, we felt like we had a responsibility to change that. So that's why we created the Purple Leash Project. And really, it's all about providing the grants and providing the resources to domestic abuse shelters so that they can make small changes and accept survivors with their pets.
It's so amazing, that number, that nearly half of abuse survivors do not leave the situation because of their pet. And I try to put myself in that, where I have a healthy relationship with all my family members. And I think of our dog and how much power someone would have over me because that dog is like a family member. Then imagine that you have the isolation, the shame, the pain of being in an abusive situation. Leaving without that pet sounds almost impossible.
That's right. I mean, you said it earlier. A lot of times with these survivors, the relationship they have with their pet is maybe the only healthy relationship they have in their life at that time. And us being Purina, like we really just do believe people and pets are better together, and we know that data supports that. And so we wanted to do anything we can to just support that bond that people have with their pets. And so when we heard about this issue years ago, we just really felt like we could make a difference here.
So it's something like it's less than 20% of abuse shelters that allow pets.
That's right.
Is that number, has it improved over
It
the
has,
years? And by
yep.
how much?
Yeah, so over the past 6 years, we've invested about 1.5 million in the cause from Purina. 52 shelters have gone from not being able to accept pets to now being able to accept survivors with their animals. And so we have made some good progress there. Our goal is that by the end of next year, by the end of 2025, that we'll have 25% of national domestic abuse shelters accepting pets.
So what exactly goes into it, and what makes a shelter pet friendly, other than just saying, hey, it's okay, bring them here? I mean, there needs to be some infrastructure too.
Yeah, and a lot of times it's small changes. It's changing out flooring in your rooms or your apartments, and many times it's just retraining the staff on how to care for animals. Abuse shelters, they do so much amazing work, but they're so focused on the people. And so as Purina, we bring our expertise into the equation too.
It is so cool what Purina is doing. And like I said, it should be such a source of pride for St. Louisans, knowing that this incredible effort, the ground zero is right here. And it's taking off nationally as well. Is it, did I see Mariska Hargitay on, was it the Today Show or one of the big national shows talking about the Purple Leash Project? Is she one of your partners now?
She is. She herself has experienced domestic abuse, and she is a dog owner as well. And so when she learned about this, it was just something she was really proud to go out and speak on. We created this year a beautiful statue called Courageous Together, and it's created by the same artist who created the Brave Young Girl statue in Lower New York.
On Wall Street.
Yes, exactly.
That same artist.
So that same artist created this beautiful bronze statue of a survivor with her pet getting to safety. And so Mariska has been talking about that on a national level. Here in St. Louis, we host this really beautiful event with a huge group of just people in our community that support the cause as well. And so tomorrow is Purple Thursday. It's a national day to recognize abuse survivors and celebrate them. And so we work with organizations and landmarks across the city to go purple and just shine a light on this issue that can be really difficult to talk about.
So how much national coordination is there in that?
So there is a huge group of people at Purina who are working on this every single day. And so the national piece of it is really the grant program. We have people that are lobbying in Washington, D.C. to pass acts that would protect survivors with pets. And then here locally is just lighting up the city purple.
And you did say that the Pause Act, which allots money to this effort, it did pass. It's just with government, sometimes it takes a while to get the money.
We
but
need to get it
pass.
funded. Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
And so some of the buildings that will be purple around St. Louis tomorrow, the Civil Courts Building, City Park, Keener Plaza, the St. Louis Wheel, and Purina Performance Plaza at Union Station, Enterprise Center, Stiefel Theater, the Visitor Center at the Missouri Botanical Gardens, the Jack C. Taylor Visitor Center, the Planetarium, the St. Louis City Fire Department, various stations. So kind of all over.
Yeah, that's a very cool thing. And if people want to donate, they can go to redrover.org. Is that correct?
Actually, go to purpleleashproject.com is the best place to just go and learn about the initiative. Purina and Red Rover have invested a great amount of resources in this. But if you're just someone listening that loves pets and would like to support the effort, you can go to purpleleashproject.org or .com, I'm sorry, make a $5 a month donation, and we'll provide you with this really beautiful purple leash for your dog at home. And it really just symbolizes a survivor being able to get to safety with their pet. And it's a way for you to show up in your community and support it.
Is there anything else that people can do other than monetary donations? Do you take volunteers?
Well, absolutely. If you go online, you can volunteer with Red Rover to actually make these renovations at domestic violence shelters. But also, we know a lot of people listening probably support some of these organizations. We work with all of them in St. Louis, including Lydia's House, the Women's Safe House, Safe Connections, Crime Victim Center. Volunteer with our local organizations. Make sure they know about this project and they know about the resources available right here.
Because it is new, relatively new for the Women's Safe House, right? To have a place for
That's
pets.
right. Just last year, we were able to work with the Women's Safe House, provide with them with a grant and help them build the Pet Safe House. And what that is, it's indoor-outdoor kennels for dogs and cats. And it's the first emergency shelter here in the St. Louis region to be able to accept pets. For years, we've been supporting and working with Lydia's House, which is more of transitional housing. Women and children can go and live there for 2 years. And so now we really do have full services for pet owners in St. Louis.
No, it's so incredible. And I do think there's so many different types of awareness months, and they're all, so many of them very valid and important. But with domestic violence awareness, I do think talking about it so more and more people can hear it, because I know there are so many people in those situations that part of that abuse is isolating, using shame, using embarrassment, even using guilt, like, well, they didn't mean it or whatever, right? And all of these games that
Or nobody's going to believe me.
no one's going to believe
Yeah.
me. Yeah, it's psychological abuse too. And so to talk about it and say, no, we're here for you. The community is coming here. We're behind you. We've got you. We've got a place for your pet because we understand how important that is. It is so important.
It is so important. And that's why really tomorrow, Purple Thursday, it's really a celebration. It's seeing your community gather around you, celebrate you. On Saturday, we'll be out in the Grove celebrating the 4th annual Domestic Violence Awareness Rally and Walk. We're expecting several hundred people to be out there with their pets and really just supporting. It's about supporting survivors this month.
So Purple Leash Project now. Purple Thursday is tomorrow. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about happening at Purina?
St. Louis is home for Purina. We've been here for 130 years, and we work every day to make sure that this is a pet-friendly community. And so we're just proud of how this program fits in with that. So.
Yeah, but we definitely see it with City Park and the Pooches on the Pitch Day. Is that what you had? Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the Pooches on the pitch. When you've got Purina as your sponsor, they're going to be dog friendly.
Love it.
So,
Yeah.
yes. Well, thank you so much, Kim Beardsley, Director of Community Affairs with Purina, speaking with us about the Purple Leash Project. You can go to purpleleashproject.com. October is Domestic Abuse Awareness Month. So if you want to help out, if you want to donate, purpleleashproject.com. Thank you so much, Kim.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. It is the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
If you had a crystal ball, you wouldn't agonize over when to sell your home. You would just ask, should I sell while my home's value is sky high, or wait and hope the bottom doesn't drop out of the housing market? The thing is, I'm not ready to move. Well, you don't need a crystal ball with Truehold Sell and Stay. You can literally sell now and move when you're ready. When you sell your home to Truehold, you can cash out your home's equity quickly and easily. And you can stay in your home with a flexible standard lease. Truehold pays property taxes, property insurance, and essential repairs too. Truehold unlocks your wealth without uprooting your life. Get a no obligation offer now while home values are sky high. You could use the money to secure your retirement, pay off bills, or finance your dreams. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's equity without moving, that's Truehold.com. Terms and conditions apply. See website for more details.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
We interrupt with a special report from the Missouri Lottery. With a new millionaire every 8.1 days last year, there's no shortage of Missouri Lottery winners. However, there is currently a shortage of confetti. This may impact all confetti-related activities, hullabaloos, whoop-de-doos, jamborees, shebangs, and any and all festive goings-ons. Rest assured, Missouri Lottery winners will receive a single confetto with every big win for the time being. We apologize for the shortage, but not the winning. Thus concludes this report from the Missouri Lottery. Winners welcome. Play responsibly.
As the cool fall weather sets in, just imagine enjoying the season in your beautiful sunroom, or maybe out on the patio with your fire pit, your built-in pizza oven. I don't know. I'm just dreaming along with you of what your outdoor space could be when you call Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is the sign you have the very best. And if you wonder what that means, well, I'll tell you. They're not going to be your cheapest bid when you get your bids, but they're going to give you the best value because they always use the highest quality products and the best installation because they have their own team with years of experience and they stand behind everything they do. That's how they've been around for 56 years. A third-generation family-owned local company, Chesterfield Fence and Deck, will help you with project design. They'll even come to you with a free in-home estimate or stop by their beautiful showroom and warehouse in the Chesterfield Valley. Mention me, Debbie Monterey, and they'll take 20% off your next outdoor project. Visit online now at chesterfieldfence.com.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
Did you know that now is the best time to top dress your lawn? St. Louis Composting has compost specifically created for top dressing. To learn more, visit stlcompost.com. That's stlcompost.com.
I'm Dave Glover, and I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Dr. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, Andy Royer, and Samuel Barry. You can too. Just go to youridoc.com.
If you're experiencing low energy, brain fog, or bloating, then your body might need a detox. Active Liver from New Nordic makes it easy to help your liver to detox your body all year long without major changes to your diet or lifestyle. Active Liver is available in stores at CVS or online at Amazon.
I'm Michael Calhoun. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Now, did you see this with Chris and Amy?
I love this lead, so I'm going to read it just as it is. First, they locked up your moisturizer, and now they're taking it away for good.
Wow, let me guess what this is about. Does this have anything to do with college dormitories? Does it have anything to do with airplanes?
No.
What?
Walgreens announced yesterday that it is closing 1,200 stores. That's about 1 in 7 locations by 2027. They will close at least 500 stores by the end of next year. Now, here's the thing.
CVS is already doing this too.
CVS announced earlier this month it would cut an additional 2,900 jobs on top of the 5,000 it cut last year. And Rite Aid is closing 800 stores as part of its Chapter 11 bankruptcy filing. And here's the thing. I love Walgreens. It's a great place to spend too much money on items you could get cheaper literally anywhere else, but you're paying for the convenience. And this is how I know there's too many Walgreens. If I need to go to Walgreens and there's not one within a half a mile, I'm irritated.
It's too far.
It's too far.
Too many Walgreens, too many CVS. I know people are way too drugged up now, so you would think we need more of those, but there are enough pharmacies. We got too many. Way too many.
We do.
Amy, we got another Chessie Cheaty.
What?
We have another Chessie Cheaty, but it didn't happen here in St. Louis this time. Did you see this story from chess.com? The report is that 22-year-old Kirill Sevchenko was taking prolonged breaks during round 2 of a tournament in Spain, I believe it was. And his prolonged bathroom breaks, they conclude that he was in there on his phone cheating.
Okay, first of all, if his plan to cheat was extended bathroom breaks,
Yes.
is this not straight out of a sketch from your favorite show, I Think You Should Leave,
Yeah,
where
it's
he's
perfect.
playing chess
Yeah.
and he gets up, he's like, I gotta go to the bathroom. And he runs to the bathroom and then looks up the next move and comes back. Like, it's so flagrant.
That's what it seems like. The arbiter, which I assume is like the referee in chess.
Yeah.
He talked with Shevchenko and said,
Yeah.
who said, hey, I am having a bathroom issue that necessitates me going to the toilet all the time. He said he was reminded he needed to ask permission first. The bathroom trips persisted, leading the arbiter to ask a member of the organizing committee to investigate. So what they found was that a new mobile phone, so I guess they make you check in your phone. He had a different phone in the bathroom inside a stall with a handwritten note that says, don't touch. This telephone has been left so the owner can answer it at night.
Wait,
I don't know. So he was going
that's
into the bathroom to
super
look up his
sketch.
next move. He is considered to be the 69th best chess player in the world. Nice.
Well, I feel like I don't think you can stay pro without a second job as the 69th best chess player.
Well,
I could name Fabiano Caruana, who was 1 or 2, Magnus Carlsen, who has been 1, maybe he's not 1 anymore. That's it. And Gary Kasparov, who retired.
hey, do you remember when Jerry Seinfeld made the comment several months ago about how comedy is dead because of the, quote, extreme left and PC crap?
Which is a little frustrating because I understand how he did, even before the past year or two, like several years ago, he was getting booed or clapped, like, you know, people clapping and walking out, making noises on college campuses because they thought he was politically incorrect. But it was primarily college campuses.
PC crap. He told a friend of his on the what's called the Breaking Bread podcast, Tom Papa. He said that he has some regret over those statements.
Yeah.
He said that the extreme left had suppressed the art of comedy. I did say that, quote, from Seinfeld. That's not true. Does culture change, and are there things that I used to say that I can't? Yes, but that's the biggest and easiest target. You can't say certain words about groups. So what? The accuracy of your observation has to be 100 times finer than that just to be a comedian. So I don't think, as I said, the extreme left has done anything to inhibit the art of comedy. So he has walked back his comment.
Yeah, because I do think that it's not true what he said about the comedy, right? The extreme left hasn't ruined all comedy.
There's a lot of funny stuff out there.
Well, there's a lot of crazy stuff out there, and even Dave Chappelle, when he had his very controversial stand-up routine a couple of years ago where people thought it was very transphobic, and he's like, it's not, I'm just a comedian. It was a lot of things. Dave Chappelle's not my type because he's pretty vulgar, and there were some jokes that kind of made me cringe, but I watched it because I wanted to see, okay, what are people talking about? Pretty crude. He said all sorts of stuff. He's not canceled. He's still selling out, Enterprise Center, like not the Enterprise, but Madison Square Gardens and so forth. So maybe Jerry Seinfeld, did he receive pushback? And I'm talking about before the Middle East conflict. Before that, did he receive pushback from college students? I'm sure he did. Absolutely. He talked about it, but that's different than being canceled or the left ruining comedy because he's still out there. Everyone's out there.
Yeah, there hasn't. I don't believe the idea of cancellation, I think, is completely overblown. Maybe it is that some people just don't find certain things as funny as they used to. And comedy has adjusted over the years for various reasons. Sometimes the things we thought were funny 100 years ago probably don't think are all that funny now for multiple reasons. Maybe it's just too corny, or we don't think the jokes land any longer. Comedy changes, art changes, everything does.
It does. And when it comes to, well, this person said this and was canceled, or they found out they supported this group, I will say this. All of the famous cases you hear about, they're all doing fine. They've got
Every single
resources. There are instances, I'm sure, in corporate America where someone's accused of something or they don't have any resources and they get pushed out of that job. I do think that happens. However, all of these celebrities saying that they're quote unquote canceled, they're not canceled.
Well,
they're all
no,
doing
they're
okay.
not.
Like if Louis C.K. is still performing,
Still selling out MSG.
Yeah, so maybe he's not on Netflix, but he's still selling out MSG.
Well, he's still selling his own special. I mean,
And
look,
he's a horrible
he's
person.
doing fine, but also there are a lot of people over the years who have been canceled who absolutely deserve it too. Yes, there are some victims in there, but there are also people who have earned it.
There are people who have earned it who haven't been canceled.
We have, yeah,
Should
that's
be.
right. Amy Marks Kors, Chris Ranji. Yesterday we talked to Jared Boyd, who is who's with the city of St. Louis, and we're talking about the funds, the ARPA funds left to be spent. Kara Spencer will be visiting with us. She's an alderwoman and mayoral candidate. She's next on KMOX.
This is Christina Straight with Straight Realty reminding you why pay more than four. In 2003, we had a dream to start a real estate company that would revolutionize the real estate market. Now, 20 years later, after navigating through the many markets' ups and downs, we know exactly how to help you in this challenging time. I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. Don't give away your hard-earned equity. Give us a call today, 314-441-4444, 314-441-all-fours. And remember, why pay more than four?
Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
We can get more sleep, we can get more sun, and we can get more exercise. But the one thing that we can't get more of is time. It's time to eliminate the one phrase that could be holding you back from reaching your retirement goals. I'll take care of it tomorrow. It's time to pick up the phone and make the call to Gary Goldberg and the team at Financial and Tax Strategies. 618-361-4232 or online at checkwithgary.com.
Investment advisory services offered through Centaurus Financial Inc., an SEC registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Gary Goldberg, NPN number 918615.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/rain to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/rain. That's leaffilter.com/rain.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The home of the Cardinals, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Honey, is our car still under warranty?
No, not anymore.
My sister just got an extended service plan from Ox Car Care.
Ox Car Care?
Yeah, Ox will cover our repair bills if anything happens to our car, new brakes, a transmission, AC, or engine problems. Plus, Ox Car Care offers free oil changes, tire rotation, and roadside assistance.
Wait a minute, we pay nothing on the repairs? Ox gets it fixed for us? Free oil changes, free tire rotation, and free roadside assistance? What's the number?
800-221-6319. Ox has a 30-day money-back guarantee and an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau. They handle their claims from start to finish, unlike other warranty companies. We should call now. 800-221-6319.
The last thing we need is an unexpected car repair bill. I'm calling Ox Car Care now.
Call Ox Car Care for your free quote. 800-221-6319. Ask about senior and military discounts. Don't get stuck with a major car repair bill. Call Ox Car Care, 800-221-6319, or go to oxcarcare.com.
It is 11 o'clock in mid-America. We've got sunshine, 51 degrees downtown at the Arch. What landscaping work still needs to be done on the grass inside the fence around St. Louis City Hall for over a year now?
Mayor Tashara Jones's chief of staff, Jared Boyd, told KMOX they're still in the process of determining that work.
It's still under evaluation. I think, we're looking at ongoing beautification efforts.
Boyd says the city is also continuing to reach out to the homeless community, which was removed from the park last year, and offer them services. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Georgia voters are heading to the polls in record numbers. CBS News correspondent Allison Keys.
Two friends among early voters, one supporting Republican Donald Trump, the other supporting Democrat Kamala Harris.
She's obviously a lot more stable.
Do you think she was productive? Other voters like this woman are thinking about reproductive rights and the separation between church and state.
I think this is probably the most important voting season of our lifetime.
Allison Keys, CBS News.
Now that October has arrived, the risk of car accidents involving deer increases.
The Missouri Department of Transportation says most deer strikes happen during October and November between 6 and 7 a.m. and between 6 and 9 p.m. Jason Isabel with the Department of Conservation adds that breeding season has arrived for deer and it runs through mid-November. Missouri ranks between 10th and 15th nationally every year for deer-related crashes. 4 people died and 420 were injured last year. Anthony Morabith, Missouri Net.
The KMOX Business Desk, the third largest mortgage lender in the U.S., agrees to pay millions of dollars to settle claims that it discouraged applications for mortgage loans in black neighborhoods of a big southern city.
The Justice Department and the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau say Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation limited its operations to majority white areas of Birmingham, Alabama, and directed most of its marketing to and got most of its referrals from sources in those areas. The regulator said that had the effect of discouraging mortgage loan applications for properties in majority black neighborhoods, a practice known as redlining. Christopher Cruz, CBS News, Washington.
The Dow from Stifel up 242 points to 42,983. We've got a traffic signal issue on Kings Highway at 6440 going west. We've also got a stalled vehicle, 70 going westbound at 141. That's got the right shoulder closed. Emergency vehicles are on 6440 going west at Boone's Crossing. That's got the right shoulder closed in that area.
Plenty of sunshine this afternoon, but cool, high 62. Moonlit and chilly tonight, down to 32 in the coldest suburbs, 41 downtown at the Arch. Tomorrow, sunny and becoming warmer, high 68. This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Sponsored by DesignAirService.com, St. Louis's leading air conditioning and repair service. We've got sunshine across the region. It's 51 in Florissant, 50 St. Peters, and downtown at the Arch, it's 51 degrees. The feels like right now is 51. Winds out of the northwest at 7, gusting to 14 miles per hour. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
At Design Air, the customer is most important. From emergency repair to HVAC maintenance, high-efficiency furnaces, or an air conditioner installation, get great service from DesignAirService.com.
KMOX, your go-to for family-friendly discussions of topics that matter to you. The Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
It's Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji on KMOX. It is good to have you with us this morning. Hour 2 of the show. We hope you're listening on the Odyssey app. If it's not, the typical 1120 or 98.7 or 102.5 HD2, you can listen to us on HD radio. But the Odyssey app is fantastic. You should just put it on your phone and listen to us, take us wherever you go. We are going to have Alderwoman Kara Spencer here in studio in just a moment. We are going to get her thoughts on our interview with Jared Boyd with the city of St. Louis yesterday. We spoke about a number of topics, and we are going to talk to Kara Spencer about that in a moment. Matt Pauley will join us at the bottom of the hour, just after the 11:30 news. We're going to talk a little birds and blues and stuff.
Yeah, and with Jared Boyd, the chief of staff for Mayor Tashara Jones, we asked him specifically about 2 issues that the city is dealing with. One would be the vacant, neglected buildings in North St. Louis and how the mayor has a program to basically, these buildings have been condemned. The city sends repair teams to fix the buildings, and then they send the bill to the negligent owners. Some owners, once they know that's going to happen, have taken action on their own. We also talked about the ARPA funds grant program that was going to, you had money going to businesses that didn't exist. One was like a museum and gym in North St. Louis that was awarded grant money from the ARPA funds. The thing is, that museum and gym didn't exist. So the amount of vetting that was going on was far insufficient for the funds that they have.
So we do have Alderwoman Kara Spencer in with us again, running for mayor of the city of St. Louis. Good to have you with us. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so we know that we were just speaking about Jared Boyd, who is the chief of staff for Mayor Jones. We were talking to him yesterday about a number of things. One of them was the ARPA money that is left to be spent, and you had tweeted the other day about $184 million that's left to be allocated. We don't have a whole lot of time to do that. Here is what he had to say.
I saw Alderwoman Spencer's tweet, which contained several inaccuracies, including claiming that we have to reappropriate $184 million. That's patently false. And it's unfortunate that silly season and election season has encroached upon governance. We will be introducing a bill to deal with the remainder of ARPA funds.
Do you know what the number is?
We're still working on it, but she's claiming it's $184 million. I'm going to say it's going to be far, far less than that. And when that bill is introduced, I'll be happy to come back here and explain why she was patently and why she was just incredibly wrong on this topic.
So, Alderwoman, you heard him yesterday. There he is today. What do you have to say?
Well, talk about silly season. I don't have a patent on anything, but what I do have is access to the publicly available transparency portal that the city has been pointing to for a number of years now to kind of as their go-to, right? And as of yesterday, when Jared Boyd was on the air, that transparency portal very clearly stated that we had, of course, $498 million of ARPA funds, of which 316 had been spoken for, so to speak, and what that means, obligated, and that's really what's the key factor here. I mean, we've got to have these funds obligated by the end of the year, and if they've got more than that obligated at this point in time, it's not a part of their transparency portal, and so that's a big problem. And as Jared pointed out, he alluded to this board bill, this elusive, mysterious bill that they're going to be putting forward with an undisclosed amount of unobligated funds. I mean, this is just a complete lack of transparency, in my opinion. And we can't govern, we can't discuss what we've got to be doing if we don't even know how much money is left on the table at this point.
Yeah, and you were saying $184 million. That's what you have, about 10 weeks. They have 10 weeks to spend that money. But he was saying he thought that number would be way less. And he said that number is patently wrong. Do you know what he's referring to of why he would think that would be way less?
Well, I mean, again, we've got $498 million that the feds, the federal government gave the city of St. Louis. As of yesterday, according to the mayor's transparency portal, we had obligated 316 of that million. Okay. So that leaves a deficit, okay, of $184 million that we've got to obligate. We don't have to spend it by the end of this year. Okay. But we've got to have it obligated, which means it has to be, contracts have to be signed. And if they have more contracts signed than they have disclosed to the public by way of their transparency portal, that's a real problem. And so if they're doing this work, behind closed doors, or not posting about it or not being transparent about it, we've got a problem on our hands.
Connor Kerrigan, who is with the city, I believe he's joining us tomorrow. Is that correct? He was saying something about that portal, that it would be updated or released, or he was sort of telling us off the air. And I think that day is tomorrow, and he wants to talk about the release of it. But is it a thing that you believe we should already be seeing these? We should already be seeing the numbers, what's being spent or what's going to be allocated?
Absolutely. I mean, what I was kind of going from, Jared came before the HUD's committee. It's been about a month now. And he was talking about at that time, which was several weeks ago, it was too late to issue new RFPs for these funds. And so again, I mean, the real question is how much money is left on the table according to the city's own website right now. That is a very significant figure. That's where the 184 came from. And if that's wrong, we need to be having some public discussions about that, because what we really should be doing is not waiting for the mayor and the mayor's office to just declare what we're going to be spending this, what she'd like to spend this money on. We should be having some public discussions about this. I mean, in my opinion, we have some very large deficits across the city we should be spending these funds on. I'm talking about our roads, basic infrastructure. Okay, the federal government just came down last week and obligated cities to replace their lead pipes for water mains. We've got some real infrastructure funds necessary to do that kind of work. And we need to be talking to the general public about what we plan to do with their money. This is taxpayer dollars.
Going to how some of the other ARPA funds are being spent. The $37 million that has been given to a grant program to build up North Side businesses and nonprofits, which, again, on the surface sounds incredible because North City needs that investment so badly. It's got so much history, so many beautiful buildings. It'd be great for it to be a thriving community again. However, when you start looking into this grant program and you're seeing, like I said, grants are being given to businesses and nonprofits that literally don't exist. It's a vacant lot. It's a condemned building. It's not anything like it was said. Those who were denied grants were put in line to receive $12,500 as a consolation prize. I've never heard of a grant program that does that. And also the city of St. Louis, at least as of yesterday, had not released what some of the biggest awardees, like how they will be using that grant money, like what is it? And so the lack of transparency with the knowledge that a lot of these grants are being handed out to businesses and nonprofits that don't exist, it doesn't inspire confidence. What's going on with that program?
Absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know what's going on with that program, and that's a real problem. I mean, you pointed to the lack of transparency. Again, I mean, clearly we have no idea how much money is really on the table. Jared Boyd couldn't give us a figure. All we could go on is what's going on in the Transparency Portal. But this program, the $37 million, my gosh, what an enormously large missed opportunity. I mean, we are talking about a part of St. Louis that has, as you pointed out, really, really needs a lot of investment. And this was, this could have been a real shot in the arm. But at the end of the day, we have no idea what the process was for vetting these folks. Not only that, but those consolation prizes you're talking about came right out of what was set aside to administer these funds. So when the Board of Aldermen, and I voted for this, by the way, at the board, allocated $37 million to this program, we set aside 10% of that, $3.7 million to administer these funds, okay, and to go through the process of vetting them and really making sure that this work was done well. That's a very significant amount of funding. And what SLDC board voted on just a couple weeks ago was taking $1.5 million out of that $3.7 set aside to administer these funds and putting it into additional grant money. I mean, it's clear that they're not administering these funds correctly, well, or in a way that is inspiring any level of confidence in the general public on this. And here we are taking money out of the basic function of administering them. It's absolutely crazy.
I think the concern that St. Louisans have, and we sort of addressed this yesterday with Mr. Boyd, is when this is all done, this ARPA money, the RAM settlement money, when all of this is spent, can we be confident that we're going to look back on it and go, we did transformational things with all of that money? Do you feel like we're on that path?
I do not feel like we're on that path at all. And I think that's an excellent question to be asking ourselves right now, especially as we go in to this last wave of figuring out how to make sure we obligate the rest of it. I mean, it's clear that, from what I'm hearing, the general public, the folks I'm hearing from have no confidence in the system at this point.
Alderwoman, do you have a few moments to stick with us? We could take a break, come back, or do you have to get going?
I do. As long as I get a donut. You guys are chock full.
Oh, yeah.
Of them in here.
Are there more donuts out there?
Oh, my gosh. There's donuts everywhere. You
really?
Look. Donuts.
You are the bearer of good news here.
We didn't know about the donuts.
There are
wow.
tons of donuts.
Alderwoman Kara Spencer back with us after this.
We're definitely going to be late to the concert. I feel like we should be there by now.
I'm just taking a little detour.
I gotta fill up my gas tank, and I know this place a couple towns over where the gas is cheaper.
Are you serious? We're gonna be late for the concert because you're driving out of the way for cheaper gas? Just use Upside.
What's Upside?
Upside is the free cashback app that gets you real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait, I can get cash back just for buying the gas I need anyway?
Yes, I use it all the time, and I've made around $200. Now pull over so you can download the Upside app before we miss the concert.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code CHEAP to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or as a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code CHEAP for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code CHEAP for a 25 cents per gallon bonus. That's code CHEAP.
Help keep our community safe and healthy during National Prescription Drug Takeback Day, October 26th. Find a collection site near you at DEATakeback.com. Do your part to lower overdose deaths and prevent drug misuse before it starts.
Most of us know if it's a government program, it's hard to understand and full of red tape. Here's the problem. When you get into retirement, like it or not, you could possibly be depending heavily on Social Security and Medicare, and you'll probably need some help navigating through all the details. That's where Steve All and the All Financial Group can help. Join Steve and his team at their office on October 23rd, where Steve will discuss Social Security and special guest and Medicare consultant Scott Stream will present on Medicare. This event is complimentary, but you must qualify to attend. Call 636-230-8824 or go to yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Scott Stream and Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC are not affiliated.
She learned the value of hard work and responsibility at her family's small business at an early age. Ann Wagner took those same hard-working Missouri values to Washington. She's made it her job to keep the radical left from harming your job. Today, in the midst of Joe Biden's out-of-control inflation, Ann Wagner protects us by working to lower costs for families. As a mother of three, she understands the work and has done it to keep your home and community safe. That's why Ann Wagner fought to secure our border and stop traffickers from smuggling fentanyl and illegal immigrants into our communities, and why she gave law enforcement the tools they need to defend us. And Ann Wagner took a stand against the defund the police radicals who will leave us in harm's way. She'll always back our brave law enforcement officers, putting conservative values to work for us. Ann Wagner for Congress. Paid for by Ann Wagner for Congress.
I'm Ann Wagner, and I approve this message.
If you're still waiting for a sign, here's another one. At California Psychics, we reject 98% of the psychics who apply to work for us. So we only connect you with the best. That's how we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. And right now, new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. If that's not a sign, I don't know what is. Dramatic sound effect incoming. Experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. When you use Angie for your home projects, you know all your jobs will be done well. Roof repair? Done well. Kitchen sink install? Done well. Deck upgrades? Done well. Electrical upgrade? Done well. Angie's been connecting homeowners with skilled pros for nearly 30 years, so we know the difference between done and done well. Hire high-quality, certified pros at Angie.com.
Discussing what matters to you, your family, your money, your health. KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Chris Ranji, Amy Mark Scores. We are here with Alderwoman and mayoral candidate Kara Spencer. And we brought up the grant program in North City. I also want to ask you about the mayor's building division implementing a new program that's targeting problem properties. It's Stable Communities STL, where the city goes into North City where there are condemned buildings, does the repairs, and then sends the bill to the negligent owner, which I have to say on the surface sounds like a really good thing if owners aren't doing their due diligence and are bringing down a community.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it on the surface, it is a good program. It's a good concept. But look, you have to do these things thoughtfully, and unintended consequences can be disastrous. And in this case, the city failed to file basic liens on the work. And that means if you're buying a building, there's no way to discover this supposed debt. There's no way somebody who's buying a building that comes with a new roof on it could discover that there's an outstanding bill. It would be unreasonable to assume that the guy, that you could expect somebody to be able to find an unfiled lien. And in this case, the one that was just reported on earlier this week was exactly that. More worrisome than that, there was, work done that was, work paid for in that bill that apparently wasn't done. So, I just think you've got to be, it's clear you've got to be very careful when administering public funds, but you've got to be very careful when you go into someone's private property, do work, and send them a bill.
Is this a result of, and I'm just, guessing here, is it because the city is understaffed, or is the city understaffed? Is that part of what leads us to this, that maybe some of these things fall through the cracks?
I can't speak to specifically why these things are falling through the cracks, but I think it's just, you've got to be very careful. And I just see a failure to do that across the board. And I think, we've got to get serious about the basic function of city government. I mean, it's clear just driving down the street, you see potholes everywhere and just a, kind of a lack of real care for what's going on here in the city. I mean, we saw Fleischman Hillard leave earlier this week, and they didn't, there was no direct communication with the mayor's office on that. That's a real problem when there's a failure to have just your kind of finger on the pulse of what's going on here. I mean, I can tell you, I reached out to Fleischman several weeks ago when I found out they were thinking about leaving. You do these things because you care.
Does that normally happen where a company that's as big as that one is, with as much floor space that they had, contacts the city to let them know of their plans?
Well, I mean, look, they didn't move out of the region. Okay. And I will say, I mean, an effective administration would have their finger on their pulse of these things, these major decisions, and be in the room, and be, trying to at least understand why folks would even think about leaving and addressing those needs. Public safety downtown, having access to restaurants. I mean, these are real needs that, you have as employees and employers for the folks that you want to be coming into your office.
Yeah. And like you said, that big of a footprint in a company that's been there for 70 years is a big deal. I know we've got a lot of questions for you, but I did ask this of Tashara Jones's chief of staff, Jared Boyd, about the city councilor, Sheena Hamilton, who came on board after Mayor Jones took office. Sheena Hamilton instituted a new policy that city councilor opinions would no longer be public. Jared Boyd said they're usually like that, and that it was really only one city councilor who made them public.
Oh, look, that's just not true. I mean, they, up until the 80s, it was required that they were filed with the city register. I mean, to say that they cannot, that making those opinions public is an anomaly, is just not true. And it's just not good policy. I mean, Tony Messenger's written on this. I just think at the end of the day, the attorney-client privilege is a privilege, right? But the privilege is with the client, and the client of the city councilor is the city. And so the question is on the table, who is the city? Who makes the decision for the city in that regard? But, as a client myself, as an alderperson, when I ask for an opinion of the city attorney, I do that on behalf, not of myself, but of the citizens that I represent the city. And so, in that case, the privilege, in my opinion, lies with the citizens, the city.
So what happened over the last couple of days, there was a fire of an historic building, a warehouse downtown, over 100 years old. And there had been a fire there. I think it was within the last couple of months. There had been issues with people coming in, trying to stay warm. It's a vacant building. But now it is caught fire and pretty much been destroyed. It seems like this was preventable.
Oh, it was. I mean, look, I actually, have seen it be on fire previously. It was about 2 months ago, as you pointed out. But look, this is the third major fire in that general area in the last 18 months. We saw the Schlafly hardware store, which was a devastating loss, an absolutely stunning building. The building just east of there caught fire about 4 months before that. And we have an enormous unhoused population that has really, been very present in that community for some time. And we, have to get serious about keeping these buildings boarded up. I mean, it was heartbreaking to learn that the owner of this building was about to sell it, had it all on the line. And here we are, watching it burn to the ground. And it was an incredible building, to be honest with you. It was like the oldest, cold storage facility west of the Mississippi. It had rail lines that went right into the building. I mean, it was cutting edge in 1922 when it was built, in great shape. I mean, these are really significant losses for the city of St. Louis and for the region as a whole, because they're historic, they're stunning, and they're really could be quite functional.
So the underlying problem is that there are people who don't have anywhere to live, and they found this place, which was, I guess, the climate was pretty good inside it. So really the issue is they've got nowhere to live. How do we fix that problem?
I mean, we've got to get serious about homelessness. I mean, it's clear that this administration has no plan on homelessness. You can see that just looking at City Hall. The closed for restoration signs, are just a blaring, admission that, the only way we can really address homelessness is by moving people. And that is not an appropriate way of addressing homelessness. There are cities across the nation that have taken best practices of housing first models, working with the private sector, the folks, the nonprofit sector that are providing these services and developing a plan. How many emergency beds do we need? Being very, very, very specific and very proactive in establishing the network of services these folks need to kind of funnel them back in to society. And it is very effective in other places. And we just are failing to really engage in a meaningful way the folks involved in delivering these services.
Alderwoman Kara Spencer, we appreciate you coming in. We should also point out once again that Alderwoman is running for mayor here in the city of St. Louis as well. We appreciate your time once again.
Of course, anytime. Thanks for having me.
All right, let's talk some birds and blues. Matt Pauley is next on KMOX.
If you're driving a car or truck with an expired warranty and suddenly lost your transmission or needed a full engine repair, would a $4,000 repair bill leave you stranded? I'm Danica Patrick. Don't get caught off guard with a vehicle breakdown. Choose the company I trust, Endurance. No matter the mileage, if your vehicle is less than 20 years old, Endurance offers auto protection plans for any budget. Protection on the drivetrain, electrical, transmission, AC, and more. Plus 24/7 roadside assistance and rental car reimbursement on any plan. Endurance handles everything from making the claim to paying the certified mechanic of your choice. Act now and get 1 full year of elite benefits, a $2,000 value, free.
Endurance has paid hundreds of millions in claims. Call for your fast free quote today. Call 800-296-7260. That's 800-296-7260. 800-296-7260.
It's warm now, but winter will be here before you know it. That's why Banner Construction is having their pre-winter window event. Choose from Banner's various energy-efficient brands and window price points featuring beautiful Pella windows. Banner is a certified Pella contractor and preferred James Hardie specialist. If you've been considering new windows or a fresh new exterior for your home, see Banner's work at bannerconstruction.com or call 314-569-1050 and have a banner day.
At 11:30, Sun 52, downtown of the Arch. Israel says it hit Hezbollah targets in Beirut for the first time in 5 days. Lebanese security forces said at least 6 people, including the mayor of a nearby town, were killed. Reporter Linda Grantstein has more from Jerusalem.
Israeli jets carried out at least 2 strikes in South Beirut's Dahia suburb about 5 hours after Hezbollah fired a rocket barrage at northern Israel. The Army said the jet struck an underground weapons cache belonging to Hezbollah. The U.S. has reportedly asked Israel to refrain from striking Beirut, fearing large numbers of civilian casualties.
Couple of incidents cleared. A stall 70 West at Mid-Rivers Mall Drive and road work on 370 West at 270. And the forecast is sponsored by the Penn Mutual Life Insurance Company. They believe that life insurance is the central part of a sound financial plan and that it can make an enduring impact for generations to come. Talk to your independent advisor or go to pennmutual.com/STL. Penn Mutual, trusted for life. Sunshine today with a high of 62. For tonight, 32 in the coldest suburbs to 41 downtown. Sunny tomorrow with a high of 68. Right now we stand at 52. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Broadcasting from the Underlaw Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
What's it going to take for you to realize the IRS is in full-blown attack mode, and if you have IRS issues, your timely response is critical? Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. We certainly know the IRS has ramped up efforts because we're seeing a lot more clients with threats of intents to seize property or levy rights to property. If you have IRS issues, call the Lance Drury Firm today. Today, don't wait. Those IRS notices have hard deadlines for exercising your appeal rights. If you miss the deadline, your rights to a legal appeal are gone. Let the Lance Drury Law Firm get between you and the IRS today, and we'll help you manage your case to achieve the best outcome. IRS problems are serious legal matters, so call Lance Drury Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Don't wait. Call 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120, and schedule your free consultation with me, Lance Drury, or visit Lance, DRURYlaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgeier of Vira Capital Management for your retirement highway, Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, registered investment advisors. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan from McKelvey Homes. This month, we're giving $18,980 off our homes in selected communities to celebrate 126 years of legendary quality and craftsmanship. In addition, our skilled craftsmen from the Mid-America Carpenters Union are offering McKelvey buyers up to $10,000 cash towards their new home for closing costs or lower interest rates. Combine these two incredible offers and save big on your McKelvey home. But hurry, this rare opportunity won't last long. Visit McKelveyhomes.com.
Supporting your nutrition should be easy. That's why we created the Neovitamin Women's Multivitamin monthly subscription. Get your daily Neovitamin Women's Multivitamin delivered directly to your door every month. You can pause or cancel your subscription at any time with no long-term obligations. With B vitamins to support energy, vitamin D for bone support, and our physician-formulated proprietary blend, Neovitamin Women's Multivitamin is here to support your nutrition every day. Start supporting your nutrition and sign up for a monthly Neovitamin Women's Multivitamin subscription today at neovitamin.com.
Don't miss A Beautiful Noise, the Neil Diamond musical, coming to the fabulous spots for 2 weeks only, October 29th through November 10th. It's the uplifting true story of how a kid from Brooklyn became a chart-busting American rock icon. This incredible Broadway hit musical features Neil Diamond classics like America, Forever in Blue Jeans, and Sweet Caroline. And KMOX has your chance to win tickets to see the show. Just register now at KMOX.com/contests.
Okay, boys, here we go. When they take the field. Take the field? Let's have some fun. We take you to the game. They don't like us. We don't like them. Thursday night, it's the Broncos and Saints. And you can hear the game here. Segment Cancer Center game time, 7:15 on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
As Joseph moves in, shoots, and scores! There's the 63rd shot attempt by the Blues. And finally, they're able to light the lamp and get one past Gustafson. Still time left.
Yo, Paulie! Paulie's a great name. Yo, Paulie! What'd you do for Paulie? Anything? Me, Paulie! I was responsible!
Paulie, we're here because of you!
Well,
Blues
last night with their home opener. They are 4 games into the season.
But Hockey Amy is back.
Yeah, who cares about Hockey Amy? Didn't go well.
It's not going well. Hockey Amy was so excited to be back.
This sports report with our guy Matt Pauley, brought to you by Renner Garage Door. Family owned and top rated, RENNER, forward and back, RennerDoorSTL.com. Matt Pauley, what happened last night? This is stupid.
that wasn't a great effort by the Blues last night. Can we
No.
shorten Hockey Amy to just HA? Can I be like, what up, HA?
No, I don't
Yeah.
like
That
it.
roll?
I'm okay with it. Listen, Matt, you know me. I was hockey. My whole life I was hockey. And then I had a couple years where, I don't know, new job, Charlie Brennan, politics. And so I was no longer Hockey Amy for a couple of years, but she's back, baby. And I will say this, it is hard to be Hockey Amy when you start on the West Coast. I was Hockey Amy through game 1, and then game 2 was a 9:30 puck drop. I'm like, oof. It's like,
Okay, so I'm the exact opposite because I host Sports Open Line 6 to 8. So when they're playing, I've got an eye on it, but I'm supposed to be paying attention to the show that I'm hosting as well. I do some work in the home office generally at night. I sit in my office and I do some things for a couple hours.
Oh, someone's got a
And
home
when-
office. Wow.
I do.
Things must be
good.
going great for Matt Pauley.
And when games start at like after 9 o'clock, it's
Yeah.
wonderful because I can just sit here and have the game on and all is good. So I am the opposite
Oh.
of you. I've gotten to a point in I want games to either start really early or really late.
Yeah.
The standard like 6 to 7 o'clock time, that's no good for me.
So, well, I mean, what
Well,
are
here,
they going to be okay?
Here's
or-
I'm going to start. This is what everyone's talking
Okay.
about, Matt. I want to hear your thought on this. You tend to be level-headed. Nick Leddy having some struggles on
Yeah.
defense. He has been on the ice for 8 of the goals against, 8 of the 14 that the Blues have allowed. That's tough. That's tough when you're a top defensive pairing.
Yeah, it's really tough. I think Braden Shin's been on the ice for 9 of them, so we've even one more than Leddy. But obviously Leddy's a defenseman, so it's a little bit different when we're talking about that. It's not so much that he's been, excuse me, it's not so much that he's been on the ice for the 8 goals. It's that he's been really actively involved in those 8 goals being scored. I mean, there's been some really bad plays by him. There was the goal the other day where the pass just like went under a stick. Like, well, get your stick down, man. There's just been some bad plays. So that's been the thing with Leddy. I'm a lot of people want to focus on the plus minus and how many goals have been scored while he's on the ice. That it's really early on the season, small sample size. You're not always responsible for what other guys on the ice are doing at any given moment. But it's the actual lack of playmaking from Leddy so far that is startling.
Well, and not only that, Matt, but you're right. It's the way the goals have happened. You mentioned his stick being up. You mentioned, or there was another attempted breakout pass that was just a bad pass. I don't know if he didn't see was it Marco Rossi? I don't think he saw him, and so that was a bad breakout pass. But when you look at plus minus, to me, it's always been one of the least helpful stats because you look at Chris Pronger, one of the best defensemen in the NHL, Hall of Fame defenseman, one of the best defensemen the Blues have had, always had a very high plus minus because when you are on the number 1 D pair, like you are playing every, time that you're shorthanded, you're there in the last minutes of the game where usually the other team will pull the goalie and you're shorthanded and you're playing against the other team's best lines every single night, night in and night out. Plus you're logging 22, 23, 24 minutes. So plus minus doesn't always tell the whole story.
I would agree 100%, Hockey Amy.
So the Cardinals have 3 Gold Glove candidates: Nolan Arenado, Mason Wynn, and Brendan Donovan. How many of those are actually going to be won?
I think Wynn. If the voters are really paying attention, I think Mason Wynn wins it. I'm not as confident in the others. The utility award is how do you judge that? That's really tough because when it's one single position, you can compile all the stats for that position and compare everybody. When it comes to multiple positions, it becomes a lot more challenging to evaluate guys from a defensive standpoint. So the utility thing for Donovan, I think, is a complete crapshoot. He's won it before. Maybe he'll win it again. I have no way to evaluate that. But I don't think Arenado. I think it's impressive that Arenado even made it as a finalist. When you think about what he was doing from a fielding standpoint at about the halfway of the season, it wasn't especially good. And people really didn't notice this. A lot of people didn't notice it. He put together a spectacular second half of the season from a fielding standpoint. If you took what he did in the second half of the season and put it over 162 games, I think there's a pretty good chance that he wins the award. But I would say Wynn would be my most likely to win. Donovan would be second most likely, and Arenado would be third.
Do you think we are talking about a perennial Gold Glover in Wynn?
Yes. Okay, maybe. Here's the problem. There's so many
A lot of
really
other good shortstops.
have been-
Yep.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like when in a like funnel, when you just watch Mason win, that's why I say yes, because I watch Mason win every night and I see all the things he does. But then as my brain starts to kick in a little bit, which can take a little bit of time, I start to think of all the other fantastic shortstops across the National League, and I start to pump the brakes a little bit. So that's the thought process that goes along with it. Wynn is as good as it gets, but there's a lot of guys who are as good as it gets. We're in a golden age right now for shortstops in Major League Baseball.
Moving on to the ALCS, the Yankees, they have taken a 2-0 lead over Cleveland in the series. Are the Guardians going to win a game here or what?
I don't know. I mean, they're going back home, so yeah, they'll win one. The old gentleman sweep maybe is something that happens here. The Yankees just look a lot better than Cleveland, and they were doing it without Aaron Judge until yesterday. Judge finally hits a playoff home run, but Juan Soto's been doing his thing. Giancarlo Stanton has been fantastic here in the playoffs. I like the Yankees pitching better than I like Cleveland's pitching, especially from a starting standpoint. They really couldn't afford yesterday with Bibee going down after 5 outs or however many he got. They've taken Alex Cobb back off the roster. His postseason is done no matter what. So no, this feels like something that the Yankees are going to win. I believe they're the favorites right now to win the World Series. I think the NLCS between the Mets and Dodgers is a much more compelling series than the Yankees Guardians series.
As a St. Louisan, are we morally obligated not to root for either team in the Dodgers Mets series?
Hold on, before we get to Dodgers Mets,
sorry,
Amy,
yes.
I was going to ask him about Luke Weaver.
Oh, yeah.
Who gave up a run last night, but what he's doing, it's pretty impressive, considering that the Cardinals really couldn't find a place for him. And I don't think it's on them that they weren't able to find a good spot for him, that they couldn't make a starter out of him. But what he's been doing for them is really impressive. And I know a couple of Yankees fans and they love him.
Yeah, so I actually had a guy by the name of Lance Brzezowski who was on Sports Open Line last night. He's a player development analyst. He works with Marquee in Chicago, and he does these YouTube videos that really dive in on player development and things that are changing. And one of his videos recently focused in on Weaver and some of the changes that Weaver's been able to make, even with his grip, to really turn into the guy that he's turned into right now. I know the fun thing to do right now is to find former Cardinals in the playoffs who are performing well and saying, oh, well, couldn't do that with the Cardinals. Well, in case nobody's noticed, since he left the Cardinals, he went to Arizona, Kansas City, Cincinnati, Seattle, and New York. So, look, this is not a Cardinals thing. This is a guy who, as he has gotten older and gotten better and learned more about himself, he has found kind of a new gear.
All right, back to Dodgers Mets. Are we morally obligated as St. Louisans to root for neither team, or am I a bad person for kind of rooting for the Mets because I like their song, the Mets song, and I also like Edwin Diaz?
Jose Quintana's there and Harrison Bader.
Which Mets song?
Meet the Mets.
Oh God,
Meet the Mets.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I should have done
Right
that.
I know,
up
don't.
and
My bad.
greet
Yeah,
the
we got
Mets.
it. We got it. We got it.
Okay.
Penalty flag on me.
Yeah.
Sorry, I should not have asked that question.
It's such an old timey song. It makes
I need
me
you
want
to
to
not
buy
ask.
ice
Don't
cream.
ask questions, Matt. Just answer them.
I'm sorry.
You're here to answer questions, not ask them.
I lost myself there for a second. I'm actually rooting for the Mets. That's the team that of all of the 4 teams left in the playoffs, I like the Mets the most. I think they're the most compelling team. I think they're the most fun team. They do have some former Cardinals there. They've had some big moments in the playoffs. They're not supposed to be there because they turned it around in the second half. I understand that they're a big market team with a lot of money being spent, but this was actually supposed to be more of a transitional year while they move out of all the bad decisions that were made last year into some more baseball sensibility under David Stern. So Cleveland is the other team that I think. I actually talked about this the other night on Sports Open Line. I had people text in and say, which team are you rooting for as Cardinals fans? And I specifically waited until after the Padres were out because then the Schilt factor wasn't in there anymore. And it was kind of a tie between Cleveland and the Mets. I think people like the Guardians because they're a Midwest team. They're a small market team. They're a low money team, things like that. But then all the reasons that I mentioned about the Mets. So if I had to choose a team that I'm most affectionate towards right now of these 4 teams left, it's the Mets. And I also love the fact that every team in the history of Major League Baseball that has ever knocked out the Milwaukee Brewers from the playoffs, every single one of those teams has gone on to at least appear in the World Series.
Is that true?
Meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets.
Matt Pauley.
That is true. Go look at every team
That's
that's ever
pretty
knocked
good.
out.
Time of your life.
Before we
Because
get
the
to
Mets are
the
the anthem of all.
okay, Amy, that's enough. So
The
let
most
me,
condescending thing he says.
I mean, but what else am I going to do?
Continue.
Mizzou hosting Auburn. This is the last time that we are going to speak with you this week. Thank God. Just kidding. I love you. Mizzou and Auburn this week. The Tigers are a 4.5-point favorite. What do you think of this one?
I don't know. I don't know.
They got a
who
couple
Mizzou is
injuries
still.
now on defense. Mizzou does.
They lost a couple players, kind of depth defensive pieces yesterday. Not trying to dismiss their impact. I mean, especially what they've done defensively. They need everybody that can contribute at this point. I don't know. How is this team ranked number 19 in the nation halfway through their season, and we still have no clue who they are? We thought we knew who they were. I think coming off the maybe like that. I don't even know when we knew who was. It's
Was it after the Texas A&M game?
Maybe if that is who they are, then that's a problem. We don't learn a thing about them going to UMass, a game that they should have never played in the first place. The Vanderbilt win actually now looks as that's probably their most impressive win on the schedule, considering what Vanderbilt's done with the win against Alabama, and then they followed that up with a win against Kentucky this
Threw the
past weekend.
goalposts in the river.
Yeah, that's got fined pretty heavily by the SEC
cares?
for that. So
They had to carry it 3 miles.
That's fun.
To me, this is the week where we start to figure out who Missouri actually is, because they've got a good, not great team at home, and let's see if they can.
I feel like this is super negative. I'm afraid they're closer to the Texas A&M game team than they are to the starting the season ranked number 9 or whatever it was.
Yeah, I think that's legit. And I've mentioned this with you guys before. They can go 10-2, and I don't know if they have a path to the college football playoff, because 10-2 is assuming they lose to Alabama in Tuscaloosa in a couple weekends. They don't have another game on their schedule against a top 25 team. There's a chance if Oklahoma wins a couple games and some other stuff happens, Oklahoma could sneak back into the top 25. That game against OU is probably their most important game left in the season in terms of kind of having a resume win, but this isn't great right now for the Tigers.
All right, Matt Pauley is Sports Open line tonight, 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock.
Yes.
Great. You can ask all the questions you want on that show.
I'll have to start getting Hockey Amy on.
That's right.
Yeah, get Hockey Amy
Oh my gosh,
on.
I'm so excited.
You can have her on that, but I need her back at 10 o'clock the next day. All right.
Fair enough.
Goodbye, Matt.
Goodbye.
Yo, Paulie, your sister's with me. I'll call you back later. See ya.
The only place in St. Louis you can listen to sports talk from 6 to 8 o'clock. St. Louis Sports Live on the radio, KMOX, 6 o'clock every night with Matt Pauley.
If you're thinking about selling your home, I'm sure there are 2 things that you want: certainty and the most money, right? This is Debbie Monterey, and if you've been listening to me for some time, you know that the agent I trust is Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, St. Louis's real estate expert. Here's why she should be your first call when looking for an agent. Gloria does not make empty promises. She provides written guarantees. What does that mean for you? Certainty. Certainty isn't the only thing you want. You also want the most money. Gloria is able to get her home sellers more money than the average agent because she already has the buyers. This is why Gloria will guarantee to sell your home at your agreed upon price, or she will buy it. To get your guaranteed price, call St. Louis's real estate expert, Gloria Liu, at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Conditions apply. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date. GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. I'm Debbie Monterey, and I see more clearly thanks to the doctors at Ophthalmology Associates. Make your appointment today at 314-966-5000 or online at yourEyeDoc.com.
We interrupt with a special report from the Missouri Lottery. With a new millionaire every 8.1 days last year, there's no shortage of Missouri Lottery winners. However, there is currently a shortage of confetti. This may impact all confetti-related activities, hullabaloos, whoop-de-doos, jamborees, shebangs, and any and all festive goings-ons. Rest assured, Missouri Lottery winners will receive a single confetto with every big win for the time being. We apologize for the shortage, but not the winning. Thus concludes this report from the Missouri Lottery. Winners welcome. Play responsibly.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
This is Megan Lynch. The 2024 St. Louis Walk to End Alzheimer's is returning to the Chesterfield Amphitheater on Saturday, October 26th. More than 2,500 people are expected to walk at the annual event in honor of a loved one who had or who is living with Alzheimer's or dementia. Alzheimer's disease is the 5th leading cause of death among people aged 65 and older. Join me and join in the fight by registering for the walk at alz.org/STLwalk. That's alz.org/STLwalk.
Hi, this is Jeff Sachs with Sachs Financial. Do you have a plan for your retirement when it comes to your income so that you can live your best life? If not, go to our website and find out about our retirement compensation plan. RetireSafeSTL.com. RetireSafeSTL.com.
Is your car still under warranty?
No, not anymore.
My mechanic just suggested an extended service plan from Ox Car Care.
Ox Car Care?
Yeah, Ox will cover repair bills if anything happens to the car. New brakes, transmission, AC, or engine problems. Plus, Ox Car Care offers free oil changes, tire rotation, and roadside assistance.
Wait, you pay nothing on repairs? Ox gets it fixed, free oil changes, free tire rotation, and free roadside assistance?
Yeah, you don't pay. Ox pays. Ox even has a 30-day money-back guarantee and is A+ rated on the BBB. They handle their claims from start to finish, unlike those other warranty companies.
The last thing I need is an unexpected car repair bill. I'm calling Ox Car Care now.
Call Ox Car Care for your free quote, 800-221-6319. Ask about senior and military discounts. Don't get stuck with a major car repair bill. Call Ox Car Care, 800-221-6319. 800-221-6319. Or go to oxcarcare.com.
I'm Frank Ladd. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Are you listening on the Odyssey app? You should be. It's really convenient. You put it on your cellular phone. You can rewind it. You can listen to the show live. You can listen to podcasts. It's awesome. And you can send us a voice message. So,
Hey, you know, we keep talking about how nice the weather is.
Yeah.
If you're looking for something to do to really enjoy the weather, a cool event out at the Chesterfield Amphitheater on Saturday, October 26th. It's the St. Louis Walk to End Alzheimer's. Again, like I said, it's Saturday, October 26th. It's one of the top 10 walks in the country. And last year, there were more than 2,500 people who participated. They raised over $1 million. Very, very cool. You can register at alz.org/STLwalk.
So that is, again, a week from this Saturday. And registration for it opens at, I believe it's already
Yeah, it should be open.
Yeah, it should be open now. Yeah.
Yep.
So you can go ahead and do it now. alz.org/STL walk, as Amy said. So we think you should do that. Again, it is a week from this Saturday. Hey, Amy, guess what else is on sale right now?
What?
Battlehawks season tickets.
No, are you serious?
Yeah, man.
Wow, that's exciting.
You can get your season tickets right now to see the Battlehawks at the Dome.
The Dusty Dome.
The Dusty Dome.
Ronch got his pants dirty
I
there.
got my pants dirty at the Dusty Dome. So I expect that it will be clean by the time I get there.
Yep.
In what, April? You don't know what time this... I forgot when the season starts. Let me look that up real quick.
Yeah, but the Battlehawks, baby. Think of all the people that got the tattoos, then COVID hit, then it went defunct, and now it's back. You got to be pretty glad.
You know what? I'm going to tell you something about Battlehawks games. They are fun. They're fun to go to. It's not as expensive as an NFL game. Obviously, it's not going to be. But for something to do in St. Louis on typically a
Cold,
Saturday,
blustery.
sometimes they'll do it on Sunday, but man, it's fun. I have a really good time when I'm there. So the very first, let's see,
We're all very
the
glad.
UFL kickoff weekend
Uh-huh.
is March 28th.
I thought it was March.
And the first home game is against the Renegades.
Hey, that's going to be pretty darn close to Cardinals home opener.
Yes,
that
it will.
early April.
Yes, it will. Anyway, get your season tickets for the Battlehawks. We got another hour of this show coming up, and we got a lot happening in it. You need to stick around and listen to Amy Marks-Kors and Chris Ranji on KMOX.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-511-3535. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider, 800-511-3535. That's 800-511-3535. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with, call Big Lou at 800-511-3535.
Hey, it's Bo Matthews for Beast Plumbing. And if you need a new water heater like today, maybe it just went out, send them a picture of your water heater for an estimate, and you could have same-day service. Call 314-500-LEAK and find them online at BEISplumbing.com.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friends Mark and Neil Gelman from thegelmanteam.com. If you need to sell your home to buy a new one, it's never been more important to have an experienced negotiator that you can trust. You need my friends Mark and Neil Gelman on your side fighting for every last dollar. Go to thegelmanteam.com.
Genesis of St. Charles is knocking it out of the park. They're #1 in Genesis sales with the biggest inventory around. In fact, selection at Genesis of St. Charles is the best they've ever had. So head to their state-of-the-art facility and see for yourself and take advantage of 0% financing through the end of October. See dealer for details. Stop in today at Genesis of St. Charles, a quarter mile east of Mid-Rivers Mall Drive off 70, or online at genesisofstcharles.com.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The legendary voice of St. Louis, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Wait a little longer. Great. You may have just increased your lifetime income by tens of thousands of dollars. That's how Social Security can work for you. The longer you wait, the more money you may get. Deciding when to start taking your Social Security benefits is one of the most important retirement decisions you'll make. Kyle Jones and Matt Allgaier and the team at Fire Capital Management, formerly Heisey Advisory Group, can show you the options and help make the right decisions for you and your situation. Call them today, 314-328-4400. You spent decades paying in, optimize what comes out. Kyle Jones and Matt Allgaier and the Fire Capital Management team can help you squeeze every penny out of your Social Security benefits. Call now, 314-328-4400. That's 314-328-4400. Firm is not affiliated with the U.S. government. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
It is 12 noon in mid-America. This news update is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. We've got sunshine and 54 degrees downtown at the Arch. Last week, KMOX reported on how the city of St. Louis still has no timeline to remove the fence erected around City Hall a year ago. St. Louis City Mayor Tashara Jones, Chief of Staff Jared Boyd.
It's still under evaluation. I think, we're looking at ongoing beautification efforts.
The fence was put up after the city decommissioned a homeless camp, citing the danger posed with numerous calls for aid. Boyd adds the city is continuing to reach out and connect with the homeless community to provide services. In just 2 weeks, thousands of people have applied for a property tax freeze in St. Louis County.
County Executive Sam Page says St. Louis County has received 17,000 applications already for the senior tax freeze. Most are being done with phones, tablets, and computers. 75% of applicants have come through the web. The rest of the applications have been done in person, and Page is reminding folks that want to apply that they cannot mail any documents or just drop them off. You have to apply in person or online. The deadline is not until June of next year for the senior tax freeze to sign up. In Clayton, Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
Officials in Florida caught up with the 23-year-old owner of the dog left tied to a fence during Hurricane Milton.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. It's okay, buddy. It's okay.
The white bull terrier in water up to its belly on the side of I-75 in Tampa last week was saved by a Hillsborough County trooper. Now, Governor Ron DeSantis says the owner will face animal cruelty charges, which could bring up to 5 years in prison for third-degree felony. The pooch, renamed Trooper, has a new temporary family. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
There's one flood mitigation tool that is far less expensive than the rest.
That would be planting trees. Meredith Perkins with Forest Relief says they'll be giving away trees this weekend to University City residents.
80% of the available planting spaces are on private property. So when we can work with U City and Bloom and the city, and all these municipal folks to plant trees in parkways or parks and green spaces, but really every individual has an opportunity.
Perkins says the tree roots hold soil in place and the tree canopy slows down the flow of water onto the ground. Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
The KMOX Business Desk, United Airlines CEO says Boeing has lost its way.
Scott Kirby says Boeing has a culture problem.
They've shifted to a short-term financial metric, short-term stock price, and they needed to get back to their roots of being focused on building great products with great engineering, quality, safety.
Kirby says the strike by Boeing's plane makers will have a short-term impact on the company, but he's confident Boeing and its new CEO will turn things around. He spoke on CNBC. Christopher Cruz, CBS News.
The Dow from Stifel is up 257 points to 42,997. We still have a closure of the Musial Bridge because of that warehouse fire. There was some road work on 270 going north at 64 and also 364 east at Woodstone Drive, but those and 370 west at 270. But all of that road work, according to MoDOT, has been cleared.
Bright and sunny this afternoon, but remaining cool. High 62. Clear and chilly tonight with a low of 32 in some of the coldest suburbs to 41 downtown at the Arch. Tomorrow, sunny and nice and becoming a bit warmer. High 68. This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Sponsored by Comfort Solutions Heating and Cooling. If you're bothered by allergies or concerned about healthy air quality, call Comfort Solutions Heating and Cooling. They carry a complete line of humidifiers, air scrubbers, and electronic air cleaners. Go to comfortsolutionsstl.com. We've got sunshine. It is 54 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The Chris and Amy Show, sponsored by St. Louis University Billikens Basketball. Choose your seats for 5 or more games and receive savings off the single game ticket price with a 5-game mini pack starting at $75. Purchase now at slubillikens.com.
Let's not do any more questions. Let's just listen to music. Let's make it into a music. Who the hell wants to hear questions, right?
I wanted to comment about Trump's singing, listening to music, and your comments about him getting away with it, so to speak. For one thing, I've heard CNN and MSNBC both criticize him on this. I've heard a lot of other news outlets criticize him on this. You guys are criticizing him on this, so I don't think he's getting away with it as much as you think you're saying that he is.
I do think, and thank you for the voice message left on the Odyssey app, KMOX main page. Hit the mic button, leave us a voice message like this person did. I get what you're saying by
It
like
was Ken.
by Ken.
Yeah.
But what Ken is saying about getting away with it, I think it's not so much that he's getting away with it in the media. It's that some of the supporters, Trump supporters that I talk to, they're very quick to criticize Kamala Harris for a word salad or being a little awkward on stage, but then completely just write off or don't care that Donald Trump is inexplicably obsessed with Hannibal Lecter or spits out his own word salads or stops an interview with a sitting governor, with a governor 3 weeks out from the election, and decides, let's just dance. And he stood on stage for 39 minutes just kind of pointing at people and dancing. That's
look,
not normal behavior for a presidential candidate. And getting away with it from his own supporters.
And if Joe Biden were doing it or Kamala Harris were doing it, they would rightfully be criticized for it by, I would hope, by their side as well. I'm pretty sure that I would look at it and think that's pretty darn weird.
If I saw Joe Biden do it, like, to be completely honest, I would say he's lost it. You've got to care for him, get him off the stage. Jill Biden is failing her husband. Like, I would probably be pretty upset if Joe Biden did that, because I would think that it's elder abuse.
And I think it's all we're saying here is just be consistent in how you're looking at the candidates. But people have, when it comes to politics especially, and I think it's worse now than it's ever been, at least in my lifetime. I'm sure it was bad, 100 years ago or 200. But in my lifetime, it is, people have identified their team, and it's like, no matter what, I cannot criticize my team. I just can't. Or I have to excuse what they are doing more than ever, again, that I can remember. And I don't know, it would be nice if we could just say, that's just some really silly behavior. And maybe I should put that into the back of my mind when it's time to go vote. Because I certainly would be thinking that if it were the person I intend to vote for doing it. And I don't care what position. I don't care if it's president, senator, whatever. If you're behaving in an odd way, I will be taking that into account when I go cast a ballot. And that's what I think we are saying, is just be consistent in how you're criticizing too.
Right. And I've had several people bring this up to me about the CBS 60 Minutes interview, how they selectively edited Kamala Harris's interview. Now, if something is not recorded as live, there is always some editing that takes place. And I get how this interview, if it was selectively edited to make her appear more direct than she was, or more staunch and assured than she was on certain topics, I get it. I'm not for selective editing. And you can, let's say you criticize that and say, listen, she mumbled not just ums and ahs, because you do, even as a writer, you take out the ums and ahs. Otherwise, the newspaper report would be impossible to read. So it's not just that type of selective editing. Look, I get it. Let's say CBS went over the top to make sure the light shined on her in as flattering and positive way as possible when it comes to her policies. Let's even concede that. I still don't know what you do with Donald Trump's rambling on policies where the person interviewing him has to circle back and say, hey, I asked you about this, about the dancing on stage, about, again, I don't know if he thinks Hannibal Lecter was real or not. He'll say, oh, he's just playing the press. Well, maybe he should be a little bit more serious since he's running for the most powerful office in the world. And so, again, to me, I get it. If you find it offensive, off-putting, or even immoral that CBS edited an interview to make it more concise, which made Harris look more direct and assured than she was, but still, it's not disqualifying, partly because Harris didn't do it. We've seen Harris unedited. Yeah. We've seen her on the debate. We know who she is. We've also seen Donald Trump, and to me, his word salads, his lack of understanding is worse.
Well, again, 60 Minutes, they edit all of their interviews. Every single interview they do, none of it is completely raw. They're doing it to make it more concise. he had the opportunity for the same treatment, but he backed out of that 60 Minutes interview.
And
he backed out of a CNBC interview as well. So look, there are times, this is an absolutely valid criticism of Harris, that sometimes she is asked the question and she doesn't really answer the question directly. She just starts talking about something else that she wants to
talk about. Yeah.
Guess what, though? Every politician on earth does that. Every single one. But it is still a criticism, and it's a thing that I do not like from politicians, because I do think they should answer questions directly. Now, again, when they get TV time or radio time or podcast time or whatever, they do have intent as well, and their intent is to get their message across, which they should do. Totally. But when you were asked a question, I want an answer for that question too. That goes for him, that goes for her, that goes for everybody. And if you're only requiring it of her and not requiring it of him, or vice versa, you are being dishonest.
Yeah,
You're being disingenuous.
And I would even defend some politicians that they're all dodgy. That's why we say, that person's a politician. That person really knows how to work an answer.
Yeah, we've been doing this forever.
They have, but they do it to different degrees, because I would say, whether you agree or not, Obama knew how to at least make you feel like you got an answer, right? I think
some are way more skilled at it than
right.
others.
Bush
Sure.
would answer it for better or for worse. Sometimes he was too blunt, right? So he answered, but they all do some dodging. And you can say that Kamala skirts certain questions more than others. Absolutely. I do think she is trying to intentionally appease a more progressive leftist leaning in her party, but still also come across as more moderate. So you have to start tap dancing. It's what politicians do.
That's why she promised to put a Republican in her cabinet.
Yeah. And like I said, no, I don't think she's a great statesman. And again, everyone has a different skill set. I would argue, because I'm also seeing criticism that she's very scripted. She doesn't seem human. You know who else?
They said that of Obama, too.
Well, you know who else was really non-human feeling and unscripted? Ron DeSantis. It was a really bad presidential campaign. He is killing it as a governor. That guy was meant to be governor during disasters. I have never seen someone who's so in control of the facts and is talking to the media, talking to the people who live in Florida, and he's reassuring. Not a great presidential candidate. Like he almost felt like an alien, right? Trying to seem human with the smiling and all of that. I get it, may seem like a mean critique, but you could say that Kamala Harris is not exactly the most warm and engaging natural figure, but neither was Ron DeSantis. I think it's hard to follow Obama because he was unnaturally good at his job, and it's hard to follow Trump because I don't know what he is.
Again, if you remember Obama's presidency, he took a lot of criticism from his opponents for always using a teleprompter when they are all using teleprompters.
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of stuff that really gets under my skin in a way that I can't really describe.
He also goes
He does,
off,
and I think he got better at it.
Yeah.
But it was absolutely a criticism during his presidency and candidacy. I remember it vividly. I know that people were, not everybody, but there were disingenuous people who made that criticism, while again completely ignoring their candidates also use teleprompters. That's the kind of stuff that I just can't.
Yeah.
I can't get down with. It drives me crazy to a point that, again, I cannot fully articulate. When you are like, you're using a teleprompter and you're saying it while you're using a teleprompter yourself. Do you not see the hypocrisy here?
And again, I've talked to a lot of people. We talked about undecided voters. I don't know if it's undecided or more. I've talked to people that have said, like, I don't even want to vote for president. I don't want to throw away my vote. But I don't think I can vote for either person. I will concede that the several people I've talked to who've said that are historically Republican, and they have said, like, I don't know if I just won't vote. And they're like, I feel like that's immoral not to vote, but I also feel it's immoral because of the two people we have. That's how they felt. So I get that you're being pulled, you may feel like you don't know which way to go. I will say this, though, because I've heard several criticisms that, Kamala Harris slept her way to the top. Like, I keep hearing people make jokes about that. And I know she was in a relationship when she was the district attorney. She was in a relationship with someone at that office or in that same field. Okay, yeah, looks like a conflict of interest. Donald Trump cheated on all 3 of his wives while they were pregnant. He did it with porn stars. He said you could grab women by the you know what. So when people who claim to be that their faith is important to them and that character is important to them disparage Kamala because like, oh, she slept her way to the top, but completely discount or ignore Donald Trump's rampant infidelity and disregard for women and disregard for any promises he's made because the institution of marriage obviously means nothing to him. It's disposable to him like people are, like any so-called principles are. That bothers me on principle. It really bothers
to me.
me.
Honestly, that stuff is the least of my concerns, and I'm just different in that way. Like fundamentally, I don't care if Donald Trump had affairs. I don't care. What I do care is if you don't like somebody else for the relationships they've held, but are fine with his.
Right. That's what I mean.
Then I have a problem with it. Like if you have a problem with her, quote unquote, sleeping her way to the top, then you better have a problem with him having affairs with multiple people. All right. So, but fundamentally, I would not cast my ballot. Me personally, I'm not going to make my decision on him based on whether or not he's had an affair, because I know for a fact a lot of presidents have had affairs. We know for a fact that has happened.
And also,
by the way, a text message
yeah,
says she did not say she would put a Republican in her cabinet. She said an advisory panel, which is easy to ignore, a long way from a cabinet appointment. No, she said explicitly, quote, and I think it would be to the benefit of the American public to have a member of my cabinet who was a Republican, end quote. That is Kamala Harris.
And sorry, the sleep, and going back to the sleeping away at the top. I think because, this was such a big deal for the evangelical Christian vote, so-called whatever, with Bill Clinton and the whole Monica Lewinsky scandal and how he was unfit to be president because he was immoral and blah, blah, blah. And Albert Mohler of the Southern Theological Baptist Seminary said that Southern Baptist Theological Seminary said, well, if I ever vote for Trump, he said this in 2016, if I ever vote for Trump, I would have to absolutely apologize to Bill Clinton. Well, now he's turned and he is pro-Trump. And I just get tired of these accusations, so many of them being a word salad or she slept her way or whatever. What about Kimberly Guilfoyle, for crying out loud? Married to Gavin Newsom and then now with Donald Trump Jr.? Like, what a gross, bizarre person.
Also, I don't care. I guess that's a form of, is it considered technically nepotism if you have a relationship? You're not actually family, but you have a relationship with somebody and you get a job as a result. That doesn't necessarily bother me if you go on to accomplish other things. Like Harris was elected, multiple times to Senate, to district attorney. It wasn't as if she just got that one job and that was it. But it is a valid criticism off the top.
I think for me, it's personal because there are some people, in the faith community who are very vocal about Donald Trump and very vocal about their criticisms of her. And I'm saying from a faith standpoint, because Jesus is neither Republican nor Democrat, he's not American. Like from a faith standpoint, it blows my mind that you can disregard what he is doing and then somehow point your finger at her. And that's what bothers me.
That's Amy Marks Coors. I'm Chris Ranji. You can weigh in. If you disagree with us, go ahead and tell us. You can leave a voice message on the Odyssey app by tapping the mic button. It's Chris and Amy on KMOX.
When you're hiring for your business, ZipRecruiter's powerful matching technology makes finding qualified candidates for your job easy. This made us wonder, what if the rest of the world was as easy as ZipRecruiter? Math problems wouldn't be so problematic.
K equals 42.
Escape rooms? Elementary. And summiting Everest would be a walk in the park. In the meantime, if you want to make your hiring easier, use ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Simple. So, see what the world is like when ZipRecruiter does the hard work of hiring for you. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
At Onder Law, we deliver big judgments for the little guy. Onder Law takes on the biggest industries and holds them accountable. Call today for a free review at 314 or 618-9000000.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-511-3535. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-511-3535. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-511-3535. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-511-3535, 800-511-3535, or biglou.com.
Hey everyone, Dr. Colleen Bosler of the Audiology Center has a special invitation for everyone listening to this program. Doctor?
The holidays are approaching quickly, and some of you may remember struggling to hear when you were with family and friends last year. We want to make the holidays more enjoyable for you this year by providing you with the gift of hearing. We're hosting our annual Here for the Holidays promotion October 29th and 30th, and we will have lots to offer. Free hearing screenings, free earwax removal, free video otoscopy, and free demonstrations of the latest hearing aid technology. And finally, $700 off a new set of hearing aids.
Thank you, Doctor. That's an incredible offer. Folks, the Hearing for the Holidays promotion, October 29th and 30th at all 3 Audiology Center locations. Reservations are recommended. 636-441-7470, the Audiology Center, STL.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED in my 12 years of practice. But now you can get world-class care for ED 100% online by going to HIMSS.com. So what are you waiting for?
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
Conversations that hit close to home. From schools to your pocketbook. The voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
So, Ranj, I met up with a friend yesterday, and she recently was in Louisville. She told me about a concept for a restaurant that is actually kind of interesting. I'm kind of surprised it works because it sounds great in theory. It's called The Table, and it's in Louisville. It's about 10 minutes off the campus of University of Louisville, or if that's what it's called. And it's in an area that is struggling a bit. It's not a terrible area, but an area that's economically downtrodden, you could say. So it's a regular restaurant with good food, like chefs and tables and candles, and has tablecloths or silverware. It's a casual restaurant, but it's a real restaurant. But everything is free if you can't afford it. And if you can pay for your meal, or you can pay extra and pay for the person in front of you. And it's a place where homeless people can go and dine at a real restaurant, not just like a shelter, which are great, but I mean, it's a real restaurant with the community around them. And the idea was, so there was this church, and they moved to that neighborhood, this church did, and they opened this restaurant. They have real chefs. They seat you at a table and everything. And she said a friend was Googling like restaurants near the campus. This restaurant came up. She didn't even realize it was a restaurant that also served the homeless community until she started looking into it and said, well, this looks really cool. And she goes, I know some people might not be totally cool with this, but I knew my friend would. And they went. She said the food was good, the sandwiches and fries or burgers. And there were some people, if you looked around, you noticed that they were homeless people. She said the woman at the front door was an older woman, was so kind. She said she could see like a Bible, behind the table, but just interacted with everybody equally. And she said there was one homeless man who was probably not quite right. Something was going on. And he was kind of blocking the doorway. So the older woman just talked to him and kind of, helped him down the steps, walked outside, and just handled the situation. And my friend said not only was it cool because it did give homeless people not only a place to eat, but a real sense of dignity and community, but it also helped people who otherwise wouldn't see how other people are living or suffering. It brought them into that neighborhood, but brought them, you're a table away from someone who's homeless. And you're like, look at us. We're both eating burgers. That person is homeless and I'm not. And I said, I'm kind of surprised it worked because there is so much, addiction or mental illness. But she said it was really, really a cool experience.
That's really an interesting concept. I think it might be difficult to pull off, but clearly it can be successful.
Mm-hmm.
It could be something that works. And there was a text message earlier from somebody talking about homelessness and, the old trope that you hear that it's a choice to be homeless. Well, not really. There are people who have already been homeless who would prefer to remain homeless than go to, say, a typical shelter the way we think of a shelter, because a lot of times they think the shelter is more dangerous than living on the street for multiple reasons.
And you can also make bad choices that get you to a spot where it's no longer a choice, where you can't get out without help, right? Whether it's
but even if
addiction or whatever.
I mean, to me, I struggle with that idea that just because you've made bad choices, you deserve to be homeless. I think that's ridiculous.
Not that they deserve it. I'm just saying.
No, I'm not saying
help.
you, but there are people who believe that. There are people who think, well, hey, you made your bed, you got to lie in it now. Well, I mean, come on, that's pretty damn heartless, isn't it?
Yeah, because
is that what we want to be?
Help, especially with addiction. You need help. You need someone to take your hand.
Yeah, and yes, we were talking to Kara Spencer about this earlier today. The city clearly needs to do better by the homeless population. What major reason that warehouse fire happened on Broadway over the last couple days. Amy Marks Kors, Chris Ranji, KMOX.
She learned the value of hard work and responsibility at her family's small business at an early age. Ann Wagner took those same hard-working Missouri values to Washington. She's made it her job to keep the radical left from harming your job. Today, in the midst of Joe Biden's out-of-control inflation, Ann Wagner protects us by working to lower costs for families. As a mother of three, she understands the work and has done it to keep your home and community safe. That's why Ann Wagner fought to secure our border and stop traffickers from smuggling fentanyl and illegal immigrants into our communities, and why she gave law enforcement the tools they need to defend us. And Ann Wagner took a stand against the defund the police radicals who will leave us in harm's way. She'll always back our brave law enforcement officers, putting conservative values to work for us. Ann Wagner for Congress. Paid for by Ann Wagner for Congress.
I'm Ann Wagner, and I approve this message.
Tom Ackerman here for Busey Bank, proudly naming Jewish Family Services of St. Louis as our latest building community partner. Each year, JFS supports over 60,000 children, families, and seniors of all religions, races, and abilities with a comprehensive range of services. With the support of partners like Busey Bank and others, JFS alleviates hunger and improves mental health. Learn more at jfsstl.org.
This is Pat Buring, Executive Vice President of Busey Bank. For 150 years, JFS has been building community by understanding the unique and complex needs of each family they serve so they can connect them with high-quality care at no or low cost. Like Busey, JFS remains steadfast in the belief that every person in St. Louis deserves the chance to not only survive, but to thrive. Join Busey, get involved, and help us continue building the communities we call home.
At 12:30, we've got sunshine. It is 56 degrees downtown at the Arch, and
this just in.
Starting with a little bit of traffic news here, we've been telling you about that large fire at the warehouse at the base of the Musial Veterans Bridge on North Broadway, and how the I-70 bridge, the Musial Veterans Bridge, has been closed for a couple of days now because of firefighters' work and the thick black smoke and the potential of collapse. Well, the word just coming down from MoDOT that the I-70 Stan Musial Veterans Memorial Bridge across the Mississippi River between Missouri and Illinois has reopened in both directions. Again, the Musial Bridge is now open in both directions. Also, some road work on 70 going east before Tucker, and that may be related to they're trying to get that bridge open again. So those vehicles may be moving out of there. And we've also got some clearing of road work, 6440 going west before 44, and 141 north at I-70 West has been cleared. This afternoon, sunshine, high 62. For tonight, low 32 in the coolest suburbs to 41 downtown at the Arch. For tomorrow, sunshine with a high of 68. Right now, sunny, 56 downtown. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Sponsored by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Visit us today.
Valvoline Instant Oil Change wants to help ease your oil change anxiety with a few moments of automotive peace.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgaier of Fira Capital Management for your retirement highway, Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, registered investment advisors. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
Broadcasting from the Underlying Three Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
It's warm now, but winter will be here before you know it. That's why Banner Construction is having their pre-winter window event. Choose from Banner's various energy-efficient brands and window price points featuring beautiful Pella windows. Banner is a certified Pella contractor and preferred James Hardie specialist. If you've been considering new windows or a fresh new exterior for your home, see Banner's work at bannerconstruction.com or call 314-569-1050 and have a Banner day.
Don't you deserve healthcare you can count on? Well, you can count on United Healthcare. With Medicare plans that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow, you can enjoy reliable coverage and low out-of-pocket costs with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plans. Made for Missouri, trusted everywhere. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today.
We interrupt with a special report from the Missouri Lottery. With a new millionaire every 8.1 days last year, there's no shortage of Missouri Lottery winners. However, there is currently a shortage of confetti. This may impact all confetti-related activities, hullabaloos, whoop-de-doos, jamborees, shebangs, and any and all festive goings-ons. Rest assured, Missouri Lottery winners will receive a single confetto with every big win for the time being. We apologize for the shortage, but not the winning. Thus concludes this report from the Missouri Lottery. Winners welcome. Play responsibly.
Saturdays are made for soccer. Presented by Michelob Ultra. Superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. Catch St. Louis City Soccer anywhere you go on the Odyssey app, or grab your friends and catch the game at any City on Tap location, bringing City SC fans and beer together.
Hi, my name is Indiana Voslev from St. Louis City, and Saturdays are made for soccer.
Brought to you by Together Credit Union, the exclusive bank and partner of City SC.
These reports you handed in, it's almost as if you have no business training at all. I don't know what this is supposed to be.
Well, I'm trying to get ahead.
Oh, so good.
You know, all we do is beat up on the youngs. I don't do that, though.
The Utes?
I don't beat up on the youngs. You do. You think you're better than them.
No, I beat up on millennials more than Gen Z.
Matt Pajeski is a young, and he beats up on them. He thinks he's better than the rest of them. Our producer, Matt.
I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he is bucking the trend here.
I'm not better than anybody. So I love Gen Z, but apparently Gen Z is getting fired at an alarming rate. Bosses are firing Gen Z grads months after hiring them. We got to find out what the hell's going. We need to, you know what? No more Gen Z hirings until we find out what the hell is going on. So to talk about that with us, Chief Career Strategist and Chief Happiness Officer of the Bauke Group, Julie Bauke, is with us on the Quiver River Electric guest line. Good afternoon, Julie.
Hello.
So why are these young people so stupid? Well, they're getting fired.
There's so many great ones. There's so many great ones. But I mean, there's some really pretty alarming statistics in a survey by an online company called Intelligent. And 1 in 6 employers have had such bad experiences with recent college graduates, they're hesitant to hire young workers at all. And listen to this, 75% of the companies that responded to the surveys report that some or all of the recent college graduates they hired were unsatisfactory. That's alarming because guess what? It's all we got. So every day, more boomers leave the market and more young people come into the market. And so this is long-term, not sustainable.
So how much worse is that number now than the previous generation?
Oh my gosh. I don't think we did these kind of surveys when millennials were young in the market because they were different. It was different. There's a real gap between millennials and Gen Z in terms of how they look at work and how they're perceived by the market. And so this study also said, okay, why were they unsatisfactory? Like, what's getting into this? And these are the top 5 reasons, and in order: lack of motivation or initiative, 50%; a lack of professionalism, 46%; poor communication skills, 39%; struggles with feedback, 38%; and inadequate problem-solving abilities, 34%. So 1/3 to a half of companies said one or more of these things they found to be true with their recent hires who are Gen Z.
It's, it's really interesting too, and especially that the number one reason was a lack of motivation or initiative. I had talked to a couple of business owners, and they were saying with young people, they're struggling because even if the young person wants to work, you have to delegate everything to them. They have no inclination to self-delegate. They can't show any enterprise on their own. He's like, he's a good worker, but I have to tell him exactly what to do. Otherwise, he's clueless. And I know that varies, right, from industry to industry. But that idea, like even when I worked at a running store, you kind of would see things out of place, pick them up, maybe sweep. And someone said, yeah, the younger generation, I'm struggling with getting them to take that initiative. That kind of checks out with the numbers that you were giving us.
Yeah. And part of it is when you look at why do we not see initiative and motivation, there is also, I believe, underlying in this, because I've seen this in a lot of other surveys, they are so afraid to make a mistake or to be seen as a failure. And when you start tracing that back, one of the reasons behind that is certainly that mom and dad they pushed the boulders out of the way for them. And so they've not learned how to drop the ball and pick themselves back up again. They've not learned to try something and not be good at it. And so they're scared to death of failing or being seen as not good enough. So, you've got people coming into the market who not only in a lot of cases had parents who were like, you are my precious little special prince. And did someone mean to you today?
Yeah.
And then they pick up the phone and they're calling the principal of the high school or the president of the university and moving all of the boulders and rocks out of the way. And those of us who are older than that know that some of our most meaningful moments in learning to be a competent professional was screwing something up and then recovering from it.
Oh my gosh, that's so true. Like resilience. There's no resilience.
Okay, so then as a society for years, and I feel like this goes back to even when I was a kid, the driving force has been got to protect the children, got to protect the children. The children are the most important. So then where do you draw the line between got to protect the children, but also children need to learn? It seems like a confusing message.
Yeah, it is. And I don't think we've handled that confusing message well. So think about when you was just talking to somebody about this yesterday. So a friend of mine said, everybody needs to work in a customer service capacity. Everybody needs to learn to deal with the general public, whether that is in food service or working at a Target, because that's where you build those skills. Well, so we've got a generation of kids who they took extra courses to be able to get into college. They did these, according to their parents, extra, they did everything extra. And it was seen in a lot of cases that working in a minimum wage job was of no value, was of little value. And so we all have those moments when our kids were growing up, if you have kids that are adults now, that we wanted to rage against the machine on their behalf, but we didn't. And so it's the trusting your kid to handle things themselves, the little things, because that's what builds the resilience. I mean, we saw a study recently. I don't think we talked about it on here, but we saw a study recently where so many kids show up. 20% of employers in an 800 company survey said that these kids are showing up with a parent.
Oh my
to the
gosh.
interview.
Okay.
Oh my
so this
gosh.
is all right. I maybe I'm insane for this thought, but I feel like this has been a slow process that is built to this point.
Yeah.
That
Yeah, it has.
I feel like there's a very good chance this started in the 80s with the whole Adam Walsh thing, which may sound ridiculous, because if I remember being a kid when that happened, that kid was abducted and he was killed, and then it was, oh my gosh, we have to get our kids fingerprinted because the world is dangerous. There's so many dangers out there for our kids. We got to protect them at all costs all the time. So it became that to protecting them in school, to protecting them in college. Like, we're finding ways to make sure they don't deal with anything. Is that an insane thought that this really started
No.
like 40 years ago and it's just gotten worse to this point?
No, when you think about that story, and that really was a moment, man. That was.
I got fingerprinted. I remember getting fingerprinted at the fair down here on the Arch grounds because everybody was afraid of kids being abducted.
Yeah, and so social media in general, 24-hour news cycles, they really have exploded these things into things that we now have what could be unreasonable fears and expectations. And we turn that onto our kids. And when kids see that, it makes them fearful. And it's just, I mean, obviously, it's, and I know we live in a completely different country than some of the Scandinavian countries, but in Norway, or not Norway, Denmark, when people go grocery shopping, they leave their kids, the strollers lined up outside the store with their kid in it.
Oh,
That's insane.
that would be awesome.
I
Can you
am all
imagine?
for failure, but that's
And
insane.
then you could come out and just pick the kid you like best.
Exactly.
But no, there is,
Exactly.
I do think, like, if we did start with overprotecting the kids in the real world, their physical safety, we also started overprotecting their emotional safety.
Yes.
And I am such a fan of failure and being bad at things and being a straight shooter. Like, I actually, this happened a couple months ago. A 10-year-old told me, like, oh, I'm the worst one on my basketball team. And I said, well, it's because you don't practice. I didn't say, no, you're not, or that's okay. It's like, we don't practice. I go, it would be weirder if you were good. You don't practice. You can't be the best one. And if you're unhappy with not being very good at basketball, you might want to go out and practice. And so to me, like, just be a straight shooter. I think that we have absolutely, for lack of a better term, coddled kids so much. But when you do that, when you protect kids from any hardship, inconvenience, or hurt feelings, well, our perception of struggle is all relative to what we've experienced. And if the worst thing you've ever had is that your sibling got a slightly bigger slice of the cookie than you did, when you face a minor inconvenience at work, it will feel like the end of the world. And when you face something that's a true challenge, it might break you. You have to get your sea legs.
Yeah. And that's, and then on top of that, the frosting on that cupcake was COVID.
Mm-hmm.
That drove people into homes, drove them out of, even their college internships were done remotely. And so when they graduate and they're ready to show up at a real workplace, and now certainly most workplaces have some flexibility and, hybrid components to it, they show up in the workplace and employers are saying, oh my gosh, it's like they're feral. They don't know how to dress, how to speak to people, how to make eye contact, the appropriate things to talk about. And so we have this whole generation or this whole period of years of kids who they when they do show up at work, they don't know how to behave. And when you look at the stat about kids showing up with a parent to an interview, people are like, oh my gosh, Gen Z. I'm like, no, parents. What is going through the parent's mind?
Yeah, but
when they show up in an interview.
Yeah, we have a texter who says the same thing. I mean, like, who taught these kids? Well, it was the boomers and the millennials. So that's who did it. So as we say goodbye here, I know you can go back decades and decades of people complaining about kids these days for various reasons. If this is truly worse than it has ever been, how do we break it?
Yeah, it's there has to be several. It was created by parents, by schools, by colleges.
Mm-hmm.
And then employers, in a lot of cases, are having to go back and fix those mistakes. I'm hoping that maturity, and when Gen Z gets into leadership and they have a family to support, and they have to grow up a little bit because they've grown up in public. We never did. We made our mistakes privately. I'm hoping that there's maturity that comes into this from an employer standpoint. As of this summer, Gen Z outnumbers boomers in the workforce. So this is not sustainable. We can't keep going like this because after a while they will be the great, and this is of course not to say everybody, but it's enough that employers are changing the way they hire. So employers either have to start training people as to what it means to be successful professionally, and then colleges have to look at what kind of product am I putting out into the market.
Julie Bauke, President and Chief Career Strategist of the Bauke Group. Appreciate it.
Take care.
That is Julie Bauke with us. What about that idea of you go into the store and you just leave your stroller with your kid outside and then you come out and get it like it's your car?
I know. I don't think we have to go that far. That is to me, even in a very safe country, it's still kind of insane to me. But I do think we, like we've said before when we talk about online and everything, we have overprotected kids in the real world, underprotected them online.
You could threaten your child and say, hey, if you don't behave, when I come out, I'm going to pick a kid that's better than you.
Oh my God.
I'll go home with that one. It's Chris and Amy on KMOX.
This is a special alert to anyone owing the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes or with unfiled tax returns. Write this number down, 800-373-0322. The IRS has ended COVID forgiveness and they are cracking down. Call Tax Relief Helpers now to hear about our tax debt reduction programs. If you're facing liens, levies, an audit, wage garnishment, or already in a payment plan, we still can help you. You may qualify to have your tax debt settled for a mere fraction of what you owe or for other resolution programs. Tax Relief Helpers has tax agents available now for a free consultation. TRH has already helped thousands of taxpayers qualify for these generous relief programs, earning them an A rating with the Better Business Bureau. If you or your business owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands to the IRS, you don't have to be afraid anymore. Call our relief hotline now to see what savings you may qualify for at 800-373-0322. 800-373-0322. Once again, that's 800-373-0322.
SNL Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold-filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call SNL. 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. SNL Coin.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friends at Universal Windows Direct. So fall is here. It's the perfect time to replace those old drafty windows before winter sets in. For every 2 windows you buy, get 2 for free. Buy 2, get 2. Buy 4, get 4. Buy 20, get 20. There's no limit. Plus 0% financing for 60 months. That's 314-334-2522 to schedule schedule your free in-home estimate today. Again, for every 2 windows you buy, you get 2 free and 60 months. That's 5 years, same as cash, 0% financing. Go to UWD.com.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-525-8448. 800-525-8448. 800-525-8448.
We're definitely going to be late to the concert. I feel like we should be there by now.
I'm just taking a little detour. I gotta fill up my gas tank, and I know this place a couple towns over where the gas is cheaper.
Are you serious? We're gonna be late for the concert because you're driving out of the way for cheaper gas? Just use Upside.
What's Upside?
Upside is the free cashback app that gets you real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait, I can get cash back just for buying the gas I need anyway?
Yes, I use it all the time, and I've made around $200. Now pull over so you can download the Upside app before we miss the concert.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code CHEAP to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank, PayPal, or as a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code CHEAP for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code CHEAP for a 25 cents per gallon bonus. That's code CHEAP.
Missouri's judicial system gives voters the final say in retaining their judges. So know your judges before you vote November 5th. Visit yourmissouriJudges.org. That's yourmissouriJudges.org.
Paid for by the Missouri Bar, Misha Epps, Executive Director.
If you're trying to sell a home, there's only one agent in town that I trust, Mark and Neil Gelman of eXp Realty. My friends Mark and Neil have the best system, options, and strategies to connect you to the best qualified buyers, getting your home sold fast and for top dollar. Go to thegelmanteam.com.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
I'm Joe Pott. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
That was a perfect takedown of Donald Trump's infidelity. However, today, cognitive dissonance rules the world.
That is Chris with a voice message on the Odyssey app. All you got to do is download the app and leave us a message. There's a mic button, and you tap it. You wait for the recording, the countdown, and record and send your message whenever you want to do it.
Just confused on what the topic of discussion was for the last segment, but it sounded like you were just railing on Donald Trump, and it was just a big rambling mess. But maybe like some subject for the segment would be nice. But anyway, just a suggestion.
That is Andy. There absolutely was a subject and a point, and we made all of those points. I get the feeling, and Andy, we appreciate your message. I get the feeling that Andy just didn't like it, and he didn't like what was being said. Therefore, to him, there was no point, even though we made very clear what the point is.
Yes. The current Republican nominee for president and former president was in an interview with a sitting governor and stood up and danced for 39 minutes. And I am telling you right now, if Joe Biden did that and we didn't talk about it, people would call in and say, how can you not talk about this? The president stood up and danced for 39 minutes. Someone called Jill Biden, call elder abuse. We talked about it because there's a very good chance that Donald Trump could be president, and this is what he chooses to do.
And that's the point. The point we are making is consistency in not just how the press handles all of these candidates, whether it's Harris or Trump, whatever. It's also how people look at them. And I know that some of us are so dug into our side that we just can't. We cannot find it within ourselves to even remotely criticize the person that we plan to vote for. And I think what we are asking is to be consistent in how you're looking at each of them. And it's 100% true that if Biden did that, or if Harris did that,
oh my gosh,
oh Lord,
if Harris did
Lord,
that?
if you are going to vote for Trump, you'd be like, look at her. She looks ridiculous. She's stupid. She doesn't know where she is right now. She doesn't deserve to
be answering questions.
And that was the thing that I found to be the most bothersome when we're talking about consistency is he literally said before the music started playing, who wants to hear questions? Let's just listen to music. You've just criticized her for 2 months because she's not answering enough questions.
And I will say this.
That's inconsistency. The point is consistency. That's what we're talking about.
To understand why I said it's insane behavior, do you realize how long 39 minutes is? Watch the entire video. You can watch it. It's long. He does 20 minutes of questions. The incident happens and so forth.
Yep.
And then it's 39 minutes of him on the stage picking songs and just pointing at people. That's a very long time.
If she had done that, or if Biden had done that, I would be like, what the hell is this? What are you doing? Get off the stage. This looks really bad. Get out of there.
I
don't think you can't state it enough. Just be consistent in how you're looking at these people. We are trying to pick somebody to hire to do a job to make our lives a little easier. That's what we're trying to do. So that's the only thing that matters.
I'm doing it to keep America safe, right? A good economy and all that. A lot of different reasons why you're voting.
Well, that's all part of it. That's all part of making things a little easier for all of us. All right. Anything you missed on the Odyssey app, it's there. Go get it. Download it. And we will be back with you tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji. The Dave Glover Show is next.
Get your stick down, man. There's just been some bad plays. So,
honey, is our car still under warranty?
No, not anymore.
My sister